Tennessee.
We're going to win the game.
A Cromwell Media Station.
Where you have a voice.
He had a competent coaching staff. You just play terrible and you keep playing.
And we have strong opinions.
What a whiny freaking crybaby response.
This is Stillman and Company with Jared Stillman on Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Stillman and Company, 102.5, 106.3 The Game, streaming live on Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook Live. Thanks to Superbook Sports, live from the Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical Studios. Today, we are at Streetcar. Out here, Streetcar Taps and Garden is a gastro pub and beer garden in the heart of West Nashville, right on Charlotte Avenue, right on the street that I used to take to get to school every day when I was maybe 16, 14, 15, something like that. They've got a seasonal menu. They got craft beer, curated beer, wine, craft cocktails in a fully restored turn-of-the-century commercial building that once housed West Nashville's first grocery. I didn't even know that. But I say that because this place is awesome, and we are giving away tickets. It's the Game Summer Ticket Tour once again. So come on out and win tickets until 6 o'clock. We're giving away tickets every 30 minutes. Junie's out here telling everybody, hey, you won, or hey, congratulations. Most people, when I was here Friday, now you must be present to win, but most people, when I was here on Friday, ended up winning a pair of tickets, which I was pretty excited about, or at least where we were on Friday. Today, we're at Streetcar Taps and Garden out here in West Nashville. We got great tickets to the Preds, the Sounds, Three Doors Down, Guns N' Roses, Depeche Mode, Thomas Rhett, and it says and more. But I think the best tickets we have here are the All-American Reject tickets, and I don't see anybody picking those up. So come on out, win those, and then go to the All-American Rejects concert, which I will be going to as well. So get excited about that. And we've got the grand prize, a pair of tickets to a Titans home game, a pair of tickets in the Eurostone Club at Bridgestone Arena for a Preds game, and a 2-night stay at the Opryland Hotel with access to sound waves. Make sure you come down here to Streetcar Taps and Garden to register for the grand prize before it's too late. Okay, let's get to practice today. So I know a lot of people want to hear about, you know, what goes down at practice or what you liked or what you didn't like or whatever it may be. My biggest takeaway today was, before we get to, you know, offense versus defense, which I do think is important and we will get to, my biggest takeaway today is I thought today was Malik Willis's best practice. So I didn't think Malik was perfect, but I really felt like Malik today, with what they did, I felt like he was in charge. And I felt like they did a lot of red zone today. Now, they had to move practice inside to the bubble. They started off outside. When I rolled up to practice, it was raining. And I always park over by the bubble anyway, so I looked into the bubble to see if anybody was in there. So I just walk in and be at practice, and there was nobody in there. So it was pouring down rain, and I'm like, Vrabel. Of course, Vrabel's going to make them practice outside in the pouring down rain. Of course, Vrabel's going to, and he did. And then he saw one lightning bolt, and everybody went inside. And so they were inside the bubble today. They got a lot of work done today, but it was, a lot of 7-on-7 work, then a lot of red zone 7-on-7. They did a lot of 11-on-11, and then they did a 2-minute drill at the end. And outside of the 2-minute drill, where I thought Malik started off strongly and finished poorly, other than that, I thought Malik Willis was really good today. I mean, he had 2 throws in the first 7-on-7, including one in which he threw it and completed to Hassan Haskins. Inside the red zone, I got 7 complete to 11, which is Chris Moore, and I wrote in my notes, fastball in all caps. Great throw on a rope. 7 incomplete for 15, Westbrook-Akina in the back of the end zone, but it was too high, but it had to be high because of where the coverage was. It had to be one of those balls where it's either a touchdown because Westbrook-Akina jumps up and makes the catch, or it's out of the back of the end zone because he doesn't want to throw an interception. So to me, that's a good throw, even though they didn't complete it. In 11-on-11. Malik complete to Chris Moore. Good tight throw versus a zone, and then Moore turned it up and had big yards after the catch. They had an option pitch in which Malik pitched it out to 33, and then Jamarco Jones had an illegal crackback block that Vrabel wasn't very happy about. Malik, maybe his best throw of the day. And this might be the throw that really shows the progress. Now, there was a touchdown throw Malik had that I'll get to in a second, but he had a completion over the middle to Josh Wiley, number 81, the rookie tight end. He had a throw in the middle that was just solid throw. It was timed well. It wasn't timed perfectly. Perfectly would have been putting the ball out in front so Wiley could have kept running. He put it just a tick behind Wiley. Wiley caught it and then cut it up. And I was very impressed by that, by the throw and the difference between what would have happened last year and what I think we're seeing with Malik this year. When they went back into the red zone in 11-on-11, Malik had a touchdown to Reggie Robertson in the corner of the end zone for a touchdown, and then he scrambled for a touchdown, in which the defense, I think, started to celebrate a little too early. The throw to Robertson was a great throw into the end zone. Then in the 2-minute drill, he made 2 completions quick, moving the ball, and then kind of, they stalled. A bobbled snap out of the shotgun didn't help. But then Malik incomplete for 11, incomplete for Westbrook-Akina over the middle. Westbrook-Akina had a ball right in his hands that he dropped. Not that one, but one earlier in the practice. And then he was complete to 83 for a gain of 7. He spiked it, and then he was incomplete. And then finally with 6 seconds on the clock, which was hey, Malik has to throw this ball one way or another. He chucked it across his body, across the field into the end zone, and it was intercepted. I can't be mad at Malik for that, simply because I felt like he had to throw the ball, and I much rather Malik try to take the shot at the end of a game inside the 2-minute drill where they need a touchdown than, do something stupid like throw it short, underneath, check it down, throw the ball away on 4th down, which is something he did last year, and a 2-minute drill against Arizona. I thought Malik Willis looked great today, and I really do feel like the improvement with Malik is real. And it's funny because, Ian, I asked you 2 days ago, I said, and I've said, I'm not going to handicap the backup quarterback battle. I'm not going to handicap that until after the first preseason game, which is next Saturday. And I said to you, do you think that I have made up my mind or that I am leaning one way or another between Willis and Levis? And you said yes, right?
Correct.
Did you think I was leaning towards Levis?
Yes.
Okay. Now, after hearing this, do you think I'm leaning towards Willis?
No.
Really?
I do not, no.
So you still think I'm leaning towards Levis?
Probably, yeah.
So I will say there's a lean. I'm not going to say which way because, again, I'm not doing this until the first preseason game. But I'll just tell you guys right now, I was impressed today with Malik Willis. Today was a good day for Malik Willis. It was an okay day for Will Levis, who had two beautiful throws that sometimes he uncorks them, and I see that spiral, and I see how tight it is, and I see how on the money it is. And when we talk about comparing him to Justin Herbert, I see some of those throws where I'm like, that is a Justin Herbert throw. But all in all, I thought Levis with the threes today, and I thought he was okay. And then I did not think Tannehill had a very good day today. And I think some of this is because Tannehill is, working through things like with DeAndre Hopkins, and they got to get the offensive line figured out, and I can't blame Tannehill for that. And just talking to Derek earlier today, because he asked me how practice was, and I was like, I thought that the defense dominated the offense. And Derek and I talked about that. And Derek said it, because I asked him, I'm like, be honest with me. Does it take time? Because a lot of people say, well, the defense is ahead of the offense, but it takes time for the offense. And especially when we're talking about the Titans' offensive line, there's a part of me that's like, really? Are we going to do the it takes time? Are we really going to do the it's early after what we saw last season? Are we really going to go there? But Derek did say that it takes time. But I did not think that the first-team offense was impressive at all today. I was really disappointed in the 2-minute drill for the first-team offense. Take a sack. You can't get sacked in 2 minutes. You get sacked in 2 minutes, you lose the game. So I didn't like that. Tannehill had some nice passes to Burks today. That seems to be coming along great. He and Hopkins, every time that they practice, it feels like there's one ball that he connects to Hopkins that is that's DeAndre. That's what they signed. And then it feels like there's a ball that's just off. And I think that that's the process of developing the chemistry between him and DeAndre. Now, overall for practice, the defense dominated the offense. The defense, I am not worried about the Titans' defense, knock on wood, out here at Streetcar, that they stay healthy. I'm not worried about the secondary. I'm not worried about the corners. I'm not worried about the linebackers where they've got that inside linebacker battle between Monty Rice and Jack Gibbons, and I think Jack Gibbons is probably going to win it, but I'm not worried about either guy. And I am certainly not worried about that defensive line because all these guys, they're all varsity guys for the most part. Murphy Bunting is a varsity guy. Byard, Hooker, Fulton, Landry, Simmons, Key, Autry, Al-Shire. They're all varsity guys where it's like, okay, I don't have to worry about you anymore. The only JV guy really that there is on the defense that plays, to me, it's Elijah Molden, who is probably part of the varsity-ish, but, you know, he hangs around with JV a little bit. He's not a full-fledged varsity member, in my opinion. And then that middle linebacker. You know, whether it's Rice or whether it's Gibbons. And so the defense, with all these varsity guys that have been a part of this for a while, they seem to be dominating the offense. Now, they did not dominate the offensive line like they did the other day that got me all worried and all bent out of shape. And they didn't even dominate the offensive line the way they dominated the offensive line on Saturday when I walked out of practice where they weren't even wearing pads. And I called my dad and I was like, this offensive line is horrible. So maybe the offensive line's getting a little bit better. That I couldn't tell you. In 7-on-7, again, a little disappointed from Tannehill today. In the red zone 7-on-7, Tannehill incomplete for Wiley. Byard was in coverage. It was a tough throw to make. He threw it too high. Incomplete for Tajay Spears. Had a pass breakup on the play, which I thought was a good pass breakup by Al-Shire. And he was incomplete for Chigakonkwo, again, too high. So Tannehill 0 for 3 on the first red zone 7-on-7. Then when they went 11-on-11, Tannehill incomplete, intended for 88, who dropped the pass. And then Tannehill had another throw that was incomplete for DeAndre, and DeAndre had a linebacker on him. And even though it's early in the process, I do expect Tannehill to be able to make that throw deep down the field to DeAndre Hopkins. If DeAndre Hopkins is being guarded by a linebacker and Tannehill's chucking it deep, I expect that ball to be completed. And just looking through, Tannehill did have a red zone touchdown to Chigakonkwo in the corner of the end zone, which I did like. He was pretty good in that second 11-on-11. And then the 2-minute drill, again, they moved the ball quickly and then took a sack, and they were unable to finish the drive off. So the defense, in my opinion today, kind of owned the day from the offense. But like Derek said, it takes time, and not only does it take time, but at the same time, with the Titans, you know, the things around Tannehill, I think a lot of us are more worried about than it is when it comes to Tannehill. At least for me, that's how I feel. Burks looks good. He's on the varsity team now. I'm not concerned about him. Okonkwo, again, he's on the varsity team. By the way, Skoronski, I put this in my notes, and I do want to touch on this. Skoronski on a running play for Tajay Spears, in which Spears was in the red zone and just waltzed into the end zone. I don't know who he mauled, but he mauled somebody. I mean, Skoronski killed him. Even in practice, I was like, woo, that was something. So that was encouraging as well. 615-737-1025. Again, defense won the day, but I thought today was Malik Willis's best practice. I thought Malik Willis looked good today. We'll start there. 615-737-1025. And then the 2-minute drill. What we saw in 2-minute today, and how concerned should we be about it? We'll get to that next. 615-737-1025, plus what Vrabel had to say, his takeaway from the offense. Failing, felt like for the most part, the 2-minute drill. We'll get to that next. Stillman and Company. Again, we are live out here at Streetcar Taps and Garden. It is out here in West Nashville. In fact, in my phone to get here, I just put in Streetcar. And it took me right here. And so we've got the Game Summer Ticket Tour. Come on out, register to win. We're giving away tickets every 30 minutes. Like I said, last Friday, where we were, it felt like everybody that walked in walked away with tickets. Now, I'm not making any guarantees because I can't cash that check for you. But it does feel like you've got an incredibly high chance of winning tickets, especially today with the rain, which might have scared some people off. So come on out and see us. We're here until 6 o'clock today, and that is at Streetcar Taps and Garden in West Nashville. Stillman and Company, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
It's a long summer. But don't worry. Hockey will be back soon. You'll hear every slap shot, save, hit, and of course,
knocked down in front, rebound, and the score!
On your home for Smashville, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app. Is it October yet?
Hey everybody, Joe Rexford here, excited to talk to you about PhD weight loss because when I started the program, my goal was to lose 38 pounds. I have lost 31. I'm on my way. I'm feeling great. And a lot of things about this program are exciting. One, the food items are tasty. They provide up to 85% of your food. No pills, no gimmicks, no suppressants, no cravings. No problem. It feels good and it feels sustainable. And obviously for anybody who has tried to lose weight, you can lose weight on different programs, but can you sustain it? Can you get past the plateau? This is a plateau busting program, okay? You don't stall out. You don't want to quit. There's constant care. The program is designed for you. My coach Rachel does a great job not only of tweaking the program and helping me through and motivating me, but also explaining to me how this is working in my body. And you got a guarantee with this program. If you don't get within 5 pounds of your target weight at the end of the program, PhD will continue to coach you for free until you do. Join me now. You won't regret it. Visit myphdweightloss.com.
Hey, it's Jared. Want to tell you about Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical. Hiller is keeping you chilling all summer with special deals to keep you relaxed and happy this summer. Tackle those necessary home system replacements this month to take advantage of these special deals. When you purchase a select new HVAC system, you'll get 2 Yeti Trailhead camping chairs, a Yeti Panga 28L waterproof backpack, a Yeti Tundra 75, and 2 Yeti tumblers for free. And get special freebies on Yeti products with every new whole home generator or tankless water heater purchase. That's Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
Do reward. Just desserts. Special day. Payoff. Just because. Whatever your reasons, it's time to visit the spa.
Mokara Spa at the Omni Nashville Hotel. Now offering outdoor yoga 9 a.m. every Saturday through September 2nd on the spa terrace. Book any treatment and get complimentary valet parking and access to the rooftop pool with incredible views of the Music City skyline. Mokara Spa at the Omni Nashville Hotel. Inner Zen. Outer beauty.
3 days of racing, 3 days of music, one huge weekend event. The Big Machine Music City Grand Prix is not just a race or a festival, it's an experience. Multiple music stations with Flo Rida, Vince Neil, Chris Jansen, Gavin DeGraw, and more. Fast cars going over 200 miles an hour. And a family fun zone with inflatables, Ferris wheels, kids games, and kid-friendly food trucks. Tickets and premium hospitality are on sale now. Go to MusicCityGP.com for tickets and get ready to experience Nashville's premier speed and sound event.
Okay, outdoor summer cocktail party fit check. I've got a hot pink and orange bodycon dress paired with vintage sneakers. It'll definitely attract attention, but not from mosquitoes, because I'm wearing it with Off Clean Feel for 8 gorgeous hours of not sticky, fragrance-free protection. So I can sip, socialize, and flirt out there in the wild with absolutely unshakable confidence. Get your pre-party protection on with Off Clean Feel. SC Johnson, a family company.
Anyone want to tell me what happened?
Did you miss any of today's show?
It's okay. It's fine. Don't worry.
Subscribe to the Stillman and Company podcast on Apple, Spotify, and other podcast platforms, or by going to thegamenashville.com.
All right, I'll give it a shot.
Strong opinions and a strong personality on your drive home. This is Stillman and Company on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Decent amount of 2-minute drill stuff today. Why is that so important to hit this early?
Well, I don't know the exact stats, but a ton of games come down to the last drive each and every year. We've been able to win a lot of games on 2-minute drives and put ourselves in positions to win a lot of games in 2-minute drives. So it's going to be a big factor for us this year, and I'm going to start getting that work now. I thought we did some good things at 2 minutes, just weren't able to finish, down inside the red zone. So got to give kudos to the defense, but confident that we can grow from that. Some learning reps, like I talked about with some of the guys down there, and we'll be able to be better for it.
The thing about practice that's great is that when one side of the ball loses, the other side of the ball wins. So if you want to be incredibly optimistic, you could make the case that the Titans' defense is really good. And if you want to be incredibly pessimistic, you could say the Titans' offense is bad. At the same time, just like Tannehill said right there, today we stalled out, but we'll be out there tomorrow, so we feel good about it. There's always another day of practice. Now, in the games, there's not always another day. There's not always another game. But there's always a little something there. And I do think that that's probably, the way that everybody's taking it, because they don't want to get too high and they don't want to get too low. And that's probably the smart thing to do. But this is not a program that gets too high or gets too low. Today, I was incredibly disappointed by the Titans' offense in the 2-minute drill. Each quarterback got an opportunity to run the 2-minute drill: Tannehill, Malik, and Will Levis. We'll go over the results in just a second, and then we'll get what Vrabel had to say about it. Let's start with Tannehill. They had the ball at their own 40 with 1:15 on the clock, and they needed a touchdown. And I'm guessing they had two timeouts because I know the first group used them. So Tannehill completes his first pass to DeAndre Hopkins for a gain of 12. With 59 seconds on the clock, Tannehill completes a pass to Chikakonkwo for a gain of 15. Timeout. Tannehill then hits Kyle Phillips over the middle for a gain of 15 with 50 seconds left. And then with 22 seconds left on the clock, Tannehill sacked. So they're at their own 40, and Tannehill gets it to Hopkins. Now they're basically at the other 40. Tannehill gets it to Okonkwo. Now they're at about the 25. Tannehill gets it to Phillips. They're at about the 20 or the 15, and Tannehill gets sacked. 17 seconds, second down. Tannehill, incomplete, intended for Traylon Burks. 21 was in coverage. Third down, 5 seconds left. Tannehill, incomplete for 16. Again, that's Traylon Burks. And I believe that Tannehill would have been sacked on that play too by Rashad Weaver, but Vrabel didn't blow it dead. And no disrespect to Weaver, but he was out there chasing Patrick Mahomes on Sunday Night Football last year in a very similar situation. And for whatever the reason was, he wasn't able to stop Mahomes. So maybe I should be liberal in not calling that a sack since it was Weaver and he had the same situation last year. Vrabel didn't call it, I think, because Vrabel didn't want to end the 2-minute drill. And so with 5 seconds left, Tannehill took a shot into the end zone for Hopkins. It was incomplete, broken up by Amani Hooker, who probably should have intercepted the pass. But in the 2-minute drill, that doesn't really matter, right? Fourth down, all that matters is that you knock the ball down and defense gets the ball back. So defense won that. Again, Tannehill completed the first 3 balls. Then he got sacked with 22 seconds left, which cannot happen in the 2-minute drill. I don't care how bad your offensive line is. Nothing for the offense. The second group, Malik complete to 33, Jonathan Ward, who, by the way, is actually a pretty good player. Malik complete to the running back, Jonathan Ward, gain of 16 and out of bounds. Malik over the middle to Mason Kinsey, complete for about another gain of 15. 1:10 to go. Malik with 56 seconds left on the clock, bobbles the snap, has to adjust a throw to Ward, who gains 3. With 42 seconds left, Malik incomplete, intended for Chris Moore on a ball that he had to adjust his throw, and it was just a little bit short. And that would have been a big one because that would have been inside the 10-yard line, which really would have given Malik a chance to punch that ball into the end zone. 36 seconds, Malik incomplete for Nick Westbrook-Akina over the middle. Malik on fourth down, complete to number 83. I don't know who that is, for a gain of 7. And he spikes it with 19 seconds left. And I thought Malik handled all that operationally very well. Then Jalen Duncan commits a false start, move it back 5 yards. 14 seconds to go, Malik incomplete for Mason Kinsey. The throw was high and outside. And on fourth down, Malik intercepted by number 28 with a cross-body throw. Now, I'm not going to get mad at Malik for this interception because I think it was fourth down. Malik scrambled outside the pocket, and he just launched one to the end zone where there was a receiver, but the DB jumped up and caught it. My guess is Malik was told, if you don't throw this ball into the end zone, the game's over. So he might as well have taken the shot. But just like with Tannehill's group, they moved the ball a little bit, and then once they kind of get backed and close to the end zone in the red zone, they stalled out. Then Will Levis got his group's attempt, He completes one over the middle for a gain of 10. Then on first down again, he throws the ball away, which was a chuck out of bounds. 48 seconds. Levis incomplete. Intended for number 5, Kieris Jackson. It was almost intercepted. Not a good sign. Levis incomplete. Intended for Racey McMath, which now brings up fourth down. Levis chucks a deep ball about 5 yards ahead of Racey McMath. I don't even think McMath was open. But because I don't think Vrabel wanted the third string to get 3 snaps in and just call it a day, Vrabel throws the flag and calls illegal use of hands to the face on the defense. So the Levis group gets a mulligan. Levis hits one complete to 83 again for a gain of 8. 24 seconds on the clock on second down. Levis incomplete, intended for Reggie Robertson. 18 seconds on the clock. Levis complete for 87, Alize Mack. A gorgeous throw on the sidelines in which Mack had to go up and make a tremendous catch. Now, he fell down in bounds, which is what it is. But it was it was one of those just beautiful outside the numbers Will Levis throws that when he takes him, I'm like, mwah, that's an NFL quarterback throw right there. Timeout. So 18 seconds left. Now there's 11. Timeout. Levis complete to Reggie Robertson in the corner of the end zone for a touchdown. So Levis's group did score a touchdown, but it was after Vrabel threw the flag and made up an illegal use of hands to the face call on the defense so that he could keep their drive alive. So I'm not really sure that counts. Basically, the Titans offense dominated the Titans defense. The Titans defense dominated the Titans offense, especially in the 2-minute drill. Vrabel, after practice today, asked about those 2-minute drills. And remember, Vrabel is a defensive coach, and it is his defense that's out there. Here's what Vrabel said.
Take away maybe what you saw 2-minute today, especially maybe on the defensive side.
I mean, it looked like they walked the ball down there with the first group and then kind of stalled when you need a touchdown. Those are tough, and I called a sack, and that's the decision I made, and then weren't able to put it in the end zone. And then just looking for, early on operation speed and making sure guys are, where they're supposed to be, running routes, getting the communication from the quarterback. So that'll really ramp up, and we'll continue to do that, I would say, most every day that we come out and practice. So, I mean, like I tell these guys, it's like golfing. Every putt's going to make somebody happy. You're going to make it, somebody's going to be happy. Miss it, the other guy's happy. It's like defense one time, offense another. I don't know what to tell you.
Okay. He does not seem overly energized by what he saw in the 2-minute. I think that's fair to say. And so, again, Vrabel brings up, hey, defense does well. Is it because the defense is good, or is it because the offense is bad? That's why in 2 weeks when we're in Minneapolis, we'll get a better view of that, because none of you listening today are going to make excuses if Justin Jefferson and Kirk Cousins are moving the ball up and down the field on your defense, or if Danielle Hunter is in your backfield because your offensive line's struggling. Which I was actually thinking about something, Ian, and I think we'll probably talk about this the Monday before Minnesota, but I was just thinking about this today. I kind of want your opinion on it, which is I'm thinking that I'm going to watch the offense both days. Normally I watch the offense one day, and then the next day I watch the defense, or I watch the defense the first day, and then I watch the offense. Mm-hmm. But, I mean, we think the Titans' defense is going to be good, right? We're not worried about the Titans' defense.
I wouldn't mind seeing Fulton on Jefferson a little bit. But,
or Murphy Bunting.
Because he's a little bit of an unknown as well. Murphy Bunting, at least, from me. I'd like to see Fulton on Jefferson, but otherwise, I think your point's makes sense.
I'm just going to say that I think I'm going to watch the offense both days, especially that offensive line, because I think it's been bothering me so much. 615-737-1025. We'll get to your phones, 615-737-1025. Plus, I did think today was Malik's day, and I asked Mike Vrabel about how much more he trusts Malik. What Vrabel had to say about that, we'll get to that next here on the program. Again, we are live out at Streetcar Taps and Garden out here in West Nashville. Beautiful restaurant, beautiful bar, beautiful hangout. And again, you can win tickets. Every 30 minutes, we're giving away a pair of tickets, part of the Game Summer Ticket Tour come on out and win until 6 o'clock. We're giving away a pair every 30 minutes. I got to tell you, I think the rain might have scared some people off. So come on out, register. Must be here to win. And again, these are real concerts. This isn't like, when they send you something in the mail that's like, hey, you get a free steak if you sit through this long, boring, terrible lecture about a timeshare. It's not like that. Come on in, register to win. You got a really good chance to win. Stay here for about 30 minutes. Chances are I feel good about you winning. Again, can't say that you're going to for sure win, but I feel good about it. And then look at the table, and you can see that there are real concerts and Predators games and real stuff that is available to win. So good luck on that one. Guns N' Roses, Depeche Mode, Thomas Rhett, and more. Again, that's Streetcar Taps and Garden out here in West Nashville. Stillman and Company, by the way, speaking of the sounds, be sure to tune in for their baseball tonight at 6:35 on 94.9 The Fan as they take on the Durham Bulls, a AAA affiliate of the Rays. Sounds baseball on 94.9 The Fan, presented by 312 Pizza Company, Farm Bureau Health Plans, and Family Leisure.
All the big plays.
Rebound, fly out in front, and Saros covers it up.
All the big stories.
Andrew Burnett reportedly hired as the next head coach of the Predators.
All in one place. We are Nashville's best sports talk. 102.5 and 106.3.
Checkered flag is in the air.
Comparing goalies to running backs.
46-27 Vanderbilt.
Does this group of players need more?
The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Hear that? That's Jeff Anderson. He's that guy in your neighborhood that's always making improvements to his house, his car, his yard. On your street, it's about keeping up with the Andersons. One thing you don't know is Jeff's tools are from Harbor Freight. Tools at great prices. That circular saw right there, you wouldn't believe the deal he got. Just think, when you're keeping up with the Andersons, you're saving money. Whatever you do it for less at Harbor Freight.
Get a great deal on select Kubota equipment, the #1 rated tractor brand for durability and owner experience in the U.S. The versatile lineup is built to help you make the most of your land. Right now at participating dealers, get a Kubota compact tractor for 0 down, 0% APR for 84 months, plus save up to $800 on qualifying implements. Now through September 30th. See us or go to KubotaUSA.com/disclaimers for full disclaimer.
Visit Coleman Tractor, your local Kubota dealer in Clarksville, Nashville, Paris, and White House today.
Hey home buyers, TJ Anderson here. Are you looking for a luxury home on over an acre, 7 bedrooms, 9 bathrooms, and close to 7,000 square feet? 6551 Brownlee Drive in Nashville's Westmead neighborhood offers that and a 4th car garage, all by an award-winning builder. Text the number 1 to 615-420-2377 for pricing and info. Want your home on the radio? Google TJ Anderson Homes and see why we are referred by clients so often. TJ Anderson Homes at Benchmark Realty, office number 615-432-2919.
Check. You might already know about the Acura MDX. V6 engine, seat 7. We have an announcement. We swapped that engine with a specially made 3-liter turbo V6, race-tuned the steering and suspension, and for the first time, added Type S performance to an SUV. So we're just gonna drop this right here. The Acura MDX and first ever MDX Type S. Acura, precision crafted performance.
Experience the thrill at Gary Force Acura, proud sponsor of the Nashville Predators. TennesseeAcura.com.
Caroline Fenton here for our friends at Superbook Sports. Football season is right around the corner. I can't wait, and now is the time to place your preseason bets with Superbook in Tennessee. Superbook is the most trusted name in Vegas, and now you can use promo code Caroline, CAROLINE, to score up to $250 with their first bet bonus. Win or lose, they'll match your first bet up to $250 with promo code Caroline. Will Tennessee win the division this year? Who is your pick for MVP? And which team will win it all in February? Don't sit on the sidelines. Win money this season with Superbook Sports. All you got to do is simply download the Superbook Tennessee app or visit superbook.com to place your wager today. Football, a $250 first bet bonus, and the Caroline promo code will make you do your own touchdown dance this season with Superbook Sports. Visit superbook.com for terms and conditions. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-889-9789.
We are Nashville's best sports talk, live and local from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. When you want the national
Hey. I got this. I'll take it from here.
Okay, go ahead. Dying to hear this.
We have the best national voices that you'll find anywhere.
Who was more deserving of being thrown from their game?
I'm odd, so I get the odd picks.
They have a new coaching staff.
It's not a bad scenario for them.
We are 102.5 and 106.3 The Game.
And 94.9 The Fan.
Hey, Nashville, this is Laura Rutledge from the SEC Network, and you're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
It's very rare sometimes to have two really young quarterbacks in that room really battling for a spot like that in the backup spot. He said we're such good friends, and the quarterback room is so, I mean, how big is it to have that culture? And I know it's hard sometimes when you're battling for a
Yeah, and it is, and I think I do appreciate, their attitude and their willingness to come together and communicate, help each other. But also understand that when they go out there, they've got a job to do, and that's to compete, and it's to help the team and to help their situation. And I think it's just a testament to them and who they are at the position, and knowing whether, whatever they're called to go in there, they have to go in there.
There you go. That was Vrabel talking about the two quarterbacks, Levis and Willis. And Levis had his day on Monday, in which I thought that he was, just spectacular, especially in the red zone. And today I thought was Willis's best day. I thought Willis was wonderful. And so just when I talk about Willis, and TD will be here at the top of the hour, and I am fascinated to kind of hear his interpretation of what he saw out of Malik similarly to me, even though I have a pretty good idea because we kind of talked about this on the sidelines today. Last year, crazy decisions where he was running around and he was trying to find somewhere to go or somewhere to throw or somewhere to be or all those things. Like, he doesn't do that really at all anymore. But, his timing is better, his footwork is better, his operation of the huddle is better. And I think about Malik being the backup quarterback. And I think about, if he has to go in a game, if Tannehill gets hurt, knock on wood, be a backup quarterback. To not try to be a superstar, to not try to be Lamar Jackson, to not try to be something he's not, but to just be a backup quarterback. Hey, just do what we tell you to do. Last year, and I think that Texan game at the end of the season was a good example of that, he couldn't even do that. They needed Josh Dobbs to be that guy because it's hey, just run these plays and just throw the ball on time. But I do wonder how Vrabel feels about his trust in Malik now, because Malik does look much improved. Here's what Vrabel said when I asked him about how much more does he trust Malik this year than he did last year.
Mike, how much do you trust Malik more this year operationally, to make the right reads, compared to how he was last year as a rookie?
Well, I don't think it does us any good to go back and say where Malik was or how far he's come. I think that he's competing. I think he's much more comfortable. I see a much more confident player, and therefore it's easier to coach him. I think that's been the thing here. It's just been easier to coach him because he does have just a greater knowledge, an understanding, a comfort level, and there's mistakes like every other player, but it's been easy, I think, to coach him because he kind of knows maybe before you bring something up, or even ball security when he's scrambling and he's trying to leave the pocket and making sure that there's two hands on the football or whatever it may be. So not really focused on where he was, focused on where he's at now and making corrections and continuing to improve. And threw one in there, stood in there today. Got the center and the nose guard and the running back standing on his lap, and he flicks it in there to Racy, and a tight window, and had to put some steam on it to Josh, who made a great catch. So there's going to be a lot of things that are positive, and there'll be some things that Tim and Charles will get cleaned up.
Okay. Now, I don't want to project my own feelings on things right now. And people got mad. He's just a rookie, Jared. What do you – I'm like, he stinks right now. If he had to go in a game for Tannehill, he would stink right now. And, I think we saw last year when he had to go into games. So I don't want to just say that I think that Vrabel pretty much confirmed that he trusts Malik a lot more this year than he did last year. But, Ian, that was the vibe I got from what Vrabel said in that answer. Specifically when he brought up the idea of ball security. When we're talking about trusting somebody, it's not, I trust you to go out and make the superstar play. It's, I trust you not to fumble the ball. And when he's saying, hey, the ball security is better, it's little things like that. That's why I feel like Vrabel trusts him more. Ian, again, you're neutral to this. Do you think that Vrabel was saying it without saying it, that he trusts Malik a lot more this year than he did last year?
I think so. And just getting to know the playbook a little bit more and knowing what he's supposed to be doing on the plays, I think helps. Going into it last year, I think he was just struggling to figure out the rhythm, the huddles, the plays, all of it at once. And it was inhibiting him to, like, take that next step. So just getting that part down, the basics, the QB3 kind of stuff almost, getting to know the huddle, getting to know the players, getting to know the process of the play calls. Now that part's down, he can focus on, like, actually improving as a quarterback. And I think that's kind of where he's at.
I agree. I think that is incredibly well said. And it's not even so much about the playbook, because what I've noticed is the plays they run for Malik, and I think this is a Tim Kelly versus Todd Downing thing, the plays they run for Malik are different than the plays that they're calling for Tannehill and Levis, which is good. Like, that's what a lot of people wanted last year was, hey, run the RPOs and do all those kind of things for Malik. And it was kind of like they tried a little bit, but they really didn't. And so I think Vrabel trusts him a lot more. I certainly trust him a lot more. Phone line is driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Sean texts into the text line and says, does Malik look good enough that he can be the backup quarterback and allow Levis to sit for a while or for a whole year so that he's not thrown into a situation like Malik was last year where the team had to rely on him as a backup? I think that would fall under the let's wait until the first preseason game before we go there. Because, I mean, he looks a lot better operationally. He looks like he understands. His timing is better. It's not perfect, but it's better. It's a lot better. But let's watch the first preseason game before we talk about whether or not he can be a backup. And when I talk about backup, I'm talking about Blaine Gabbert. Like, that's the bar here. Can he be Blaine Gabbert? And let's get to the first preseason game and then go from there. Texter in the text line says, have I noticed pre-snap defensive adjustments either better or worse without having Jayon Brown or David Long being there and having that voice and knowledge? I haven't noticed it. I think they're fine. I think Gibbons or Al Shire will wear the green dot. I think Vrabel loves Gibbons. I think Gibbons reminds Vrabel of himself. He even wears Vrabel's number. But I really don't. I have no concerns about the defense right now. If I had a concern about the defense, I would share it with you. I'd let you know. Kyle says, unless he has a terrible preseason, I feel Levis is going to be the backup and don't see how, as a new general manager, the Titans could draft a quarterback in the second round and then put him on the practice squad. Now, they're not going to put Will Levis on the practice squad. And they're not going to put Malik Willis on the practice squad either, because what that would require is for them to release one of those two players. And the second the Titans release Will Levis or Malik Willis, every single team in the league is going to put a waiver claim in on those two guys. Maybe not Willis, but the improved Willis, I think they probably would. Every team in the league would put in a waiver claim on Will Levis. So they're not going to release those two guys. They're both going to be on the team. The question is, which guy is inactive? The third quarterback rule is back, which means that the Titans can carry three quarterbacks on game day, but they have to designate one as the third. He's technically inactive. And then if something like the NFC Championship game happens to the Titans, then they can bring the third quarterback in the game. And I think the Titans are going to utilize the rule even if they never actually have to do it in a game. First off, I don't think Rand Carthon wants happening to him what happened to his 49ers last year. And secondly, I think these two guys are too valuable to them to try to put out there and allow somebody else to claim or sign off your practice squad. But Chris Sanders brought up that point yesterday, and I completely disagreed with him about what Vrabel would do when it came to the backup quarterback spot. Well, you know, it will look bad, Chris said. It'll look bad if they draft Levis in the second round and then he's behind Malik Willis. But I don't think Vrabel cares about that. And maybe I'm wrong, but I really believe that Vrabel feels like whoever plays the best, whoever gives them the best chance to run Tannehill's offense if Tannehill gets hurt, will be the backup quarterback. And I don't think where Levis was drafted should or does have anything to do with any of that. I just think that it's Vrabel when he says, hey, we're all going to earn our spots. I trust him in this regard. 615-737-1025 is our phone number if you want to weigh in. A texter has weighed in and says, inject Stilly and Pauly into my veins. That, of course, being the debate programming we had this morning at 8 o'clock between me and Paul Kaharski, which I was not even ready for when Joe texted me at about 7:30 and asked if I could come on at 8 because Charles Robinson has to move to tomorrow. But boy, was it spicy. Boy, was it spicy. And I have a challenge for the local self-appointed Nashville ombudsman, Paul Kaharski. Next, we'll get to that. Stillman and Company, 102.5, 106.3 The Game, live from Streetcar Taps and Garden out here in West Nashville. Again, we got the Game Summer Ticket Tour, so come on out, register to win those tickets. If you get here and you're registered to win the tickets, I think you got a really, really, really good chance of winning tickets, and these are tickets to real stuff. So come on out before 6 o'clock. We're giving away tickets every 30 minutes. Come on out here, again, to Streetcar Taps and Gardens. Happy hour, 3 to 6, $10 wings. $10 brat cart Offlin. I don't know how to pronounce that. Berliner barbecue plate, $3 domestics all day, $3.50 Music City Light, $5 Wiseacre air bath, and $5.50 Bell's Two-Hearted Ale. Stillman and Company, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
94.9 The Fan is your home for Hit City.
Tonight, your Nashville Sounds continue their 6-game series at First Horizon Park against Durham.
Swing and a miss, strike 3, Sounds win.
Pre-game at 6:20.
On your home of Nashville Sounds baseball, 94.9 The Fan and The Fan app.
Whatever your destination in life, you can get there easier with a checking account from F&M Bank. At F&M Bank, their checking accounts give you the tools you need to manage your money well, like the smart, free checking account that's actually free, because banking shouldn't be hard, and sometimes the basics are more than enough. Making lives better by making banking easier. Go see them at one of their 20 locations across Middle Tennessee and Southern Kentucky, or online at myfmbank.com. F&M Bank, banking made easy on purpose. Member FDIC.
When looking for quality adult recreational sports in Nashville, look no further than Midstate Sports. With over 25,000 participants, they are one of the largest sports organizations in the Southeast. Summer registration is now open for adult sports like softball, sand volleyball, soccer, flag football, kickball, and basketball. For a full list of adult sports offerings, check out midstatesports.com. It's no debate. Play Midstate.
The Game text line is driven by Wilson County Hyundai. Online at wilsoncountyhyundai.com. Be a part of the conversation. Call or text the Game at 615-737-1025.
Real estate investors, get ready for an incredible opportunity. D&M Development is thrilled to announce the Phase 1 presale of 16 non-owner occupied short-term rentals in Nashville's exclusive resort-style community, the New Cumberland. Nestled between Germantown and East Nashville, this exceptional location offers stunning views of the city and the Cumberland River. Each unit features spacious kitchens, 4 bedrooms, and 4 baths, providing the ultimate luxury experience for your guests. Resort-style pools and a wide range of amenities. Don't miss out on this exclusive investment chance. Visit thenewcumberland.com for more information and secure your spot in this extraordinary community.
Mom, we're out of potato chips.
Teenagers, they'll eat you out of house and home, kind of like health insurance, which can take a big bite out of the family budget. Fortunately, with Farm Bureau Health Plan's Core Choice coverage, we can save $3,600 a year compared to the leading competitor. And we've got better coverage with a lower premium, lower deductible, free telehealth visits, and access to one of the largest networks available.
Can we order pizza?
Visit FBHP.com or your local Farm Bureau office today.
The sports talk doesn't end on Friday. Join Junie Riddle,
The guy that can come in and give us some good goal-scoring production.
and Nick Keiser.
Another guy that I thought was interesting that got a 1-year deal.
Each Saturday morning at 9, it's Riddle and the Reporter on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app. You're listening to Stillman and Company on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
If they're looking for a guy, that's when they're looking for him, and you're not in there available to him in that way. And I think it's from a lack of courage, frankly.
even though I've been in locker rooms before. In fact, I was in the locker room.
It's a consistent thing.
I was in the locker room when Wesley Woodyard wanted to fight you, and I watched the whole thing.
Yeah, that's good. You're watching me be accountable. I'm not saying you don't watch me be accountable. I'm saying you're
so you're
not
just saying
accountable.
I don't go in the locker room. If Wesley Woodyard wanted to say something to me, I'm sure he would have said it.
You're in there once in a while. If you're regularly saying guys suck, you need to be in there with some regularity.
Also, during the season, what time is the locker room open?
It's not during your show.
Yeah, it's before your show.
It's right before my show, which when I'm doing 4 hours a day and putting it together, I don't have Chad and Hutton to do all the work for me. I have to do the work for the 4-hour show.
Counterpunch.
So it is a process. There you go. That was a snippet of Paul Kaharski, who's going to be doing the morning show with Joe for the next 2 weeks. This morning I got a text from Joe. I don't know what time I got that text at. Let's see. I probably should have just. Okay, I got the text from Joe at 7:31. Can you come on 8 today instead? Charles had to delay a day. I said, sure. So I'm on the program at 8, and Paul, and look, trust me, I do not feel special in this regard of Paul publicly critiquing my work. That is something that, in all fairness, Paul is equal opportunity when it comes to critiquing their work. And so Paul doesn't like the fact that we play a lot of sound coming back from breaks. Paul doesn't like the fact that we entertained the dumb texters that don't like Justin Herbert, that think that Justin Herbert's not good enough. When, Ian, you know that text line. You know there are people in there saying, Dan Marino never won. We don't want that.
Yeah, there were a couple.
I mean, it does kind of feel when I say something like that, it does kind of feel like these people that are like, you know, Our constituents think there's election integrity issues. And it's like, why do they think that? Well, we told them. So it's like, you know. But, so Paul had all of his critiques going in the locker room more often, which is not exactly completely feasible given the hours of this show. But it is a point, and it's a point fine. So I've decided I am going to listen to Paul's critiques under one of two conditions. You ready for this? One, either Paul says, and we'll play less sound, or we'll go in the locker room more often whenever it's open. By the way, is the locker room open now? TD's right here. Is the locker room open now during it? Do they just come off the field?
No,
okay. So it's the season. Yeah. Okay. So I'll do those things if one of two things happens. Either one, Paul Kaharski hosts the show for 4 hours by himself with no guests. If Paul can do 4 hours by himself with no guests, and he says, hey, that was easy. I could do that without using any audio, or I could do that without going to the athletics ranking of quarterbacks and discussing that. If he can do that for 4 hours by himself, then I'll take him up on it. The second condition, the second way I would do that, is if he says on the morning show, I can't do that. You know, like I'll criticize Ryan Tannehill for throwing an interception, but I can't play quarterback in the NFL, and I will admit it, though I would like a chance. But I can admit that I can't play quarterback. I can admit that I'm not a coach. I can admit that I'm not a general manager. I can admit, and I don't think I would be good. Like if the LA Rams fired Les Snead and they asked me to be the general manager of the Rams, I don't think I would do a good job. But that doesn't mean that I can't critique things that Les Snead or that the Rams do. Because that's sports radio. So at least I'll say, hey, I can't do it. So if Paul goes on tomorrow on the morning show and says, I can't do 4 hours by myself on the radio with no guests, then I'll consider his critiques. And if he does it, first off, I'll be incredibly impressed. But it should make for a hell of an entertaining 4 hours. So, Chase, I'm sure you're in your car driving because I just saw you out here at Streetcar. Chase, one of these days, if Paul takes me up on the challenge, then, Paul, you're going to have to go from doing a 2-hour show to a 1-hour show because we're going to need that 4th hour from 6 to 10 for Paul to do all 4 hours by himself with no guests. Now, he can use Nick Keyser, the producer. He can use Nick as part of the discussion, but Nick can't be a co-host. I think that's fair, right?
Sure.
What do you think of this, Ian? Do you think he will take us up on this?
You mean as like hosting? He probably won't do that, no.
You don't think he'll do 4 hours?
Probably not. But he might.
I think that this conversation might bully him into trying it. And the reason I say this is because his critiques aren't incredibly wrong about how we use a lot of sound on the program, or we talk about a lot of other people's opinions, right? It's like these general managers said off the record to The Athletic that the Titans stink at drafting, whatever it may be. But that's because we do 4 hours a day. That's a lot. And it's not 4 hours a day of, hey, let's talk about the baseball trade deadline, or hey, let's make up segments to waste time that don't talk about sports, because we do 4 hours a day of sports. And I will say, I don't think this show's perfect. I don't think any show's perfect. It's like baseball. Nobody throws a perfect game, and I certainly don't throw a perfect game. But that's what I would say about Paul. I'm issuing a challenge. And the challenge is that I will listen to the critiques if he can do 4 hours by himself on the radio, no guests, or he just admits that he can't do it. That's all I'm asking for. TD is here. I'm not going to ask TD to weigh in on this, although I'm sure he's got a take on it one way or another. TD is here. He's going to join us for the TD Power Hour. His reaction to what he's seen now that practice we got a week plus under our belts. What do we think? We'll do that next. Again, we're live at Streetcar Taps and Garden out here in West Nashville. Again, the Game Summer Ticket Tour. We're giving away tickets every 30 minutes until 6 o'clock. Come win some tickets to the Preds, the Sounds, Three Doors Down, Guns N' Roses, Depeche Mode, Thomas Rhett, and much more right here. Stillman & Company, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
Green right, box 2 run, double catch. He takes you inside the huddle through the eyes of a quarterback.
Wide 85, take!
Catch ESPN NFL analyst Tim Hasselbeck every Tuesday at noon as he breaks down the big stories in the NFL.
Buffalo, maybe Miami.
And with the Tennessee Titans.
The Titans might be like, we're interested in a 1-year, $1 million contract.
Tim Hasselbeck is on Caroline, Willie, and D-Mace on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
Genesis Diamonds is opening up the vault with our largest GIA Diamond event ever. Starting Saturday for a limited time, all our GIA Diamond engagement rings will be marked down 20%.
That's 20% below Genesis' already unbeatable price. This means you can buy like a dealer buys with deep discounts on over $10 million in stunning diamond rings.
These remarkable savings are on every GIA Diamond engagement ring, from a half carat to 20 carats. All shapes too. Rounds, ovals, radiant cuts, cushion cuts, pear shapes, emerald cuts, princess cuts.
Remember, all Genesis diamonds are hand-picked, come straight from the diamond cutters, and are graded by the GIA, the most prestigious gem lab in the world.
At Genesis, our everyday prices are unbeatable. But for this event, we're taking value to a whole new level with an additional 20% savings.
Don't miss this chance to save like never before on that exquisite diamond ring. Buy like a dealer buys.
Starting Saturday for a limited time, exclusively at Genesis Diamonds. Limit 1 per customer, please. Green Hills and Cool Springs. See store for details.
If you're hiring, it can feel like you're trying to find a needle in a haystack. You can hope the right person comes along, or you can just use ZipRecruiter. And now you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. In fact, ZipRecruiter has helped a lot of business owners find their needle in a haystack, like Marco, president of operations at Telly Tires and Auto Centers. Because Telly Tires has grown a lot in the last few years, Marco needed to hire everyone from a receptionist to a store manager to a head mechanic.
ZipRecruiter helps me find all the right people, even the most difficult jobs to fill. ZipRecruiter helps me keep my business running.
Take it from Marco and millions of other businesses who've used ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter can help you find the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/RADIO. ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire.
The Big Machine Music City Grand Prix is back in Nashville August 4th through 6th and is a must-see experience that has something for everyone to enjoy. 102.5 The Game and 94.9 The Fan has all your coverage leading to the race, including driver interviews with Chase McCabe, ticket giveaways, and much more.
Now, your Game Center update.
The Tennessee Titans were back on the practice field today as they got some work done in the bubble thanks to the rain. Quarterback Ryan Tannehill spoke afterwards about continuing to develop chemistry with DeAndre Hopkins.
Yeah, we're talking a lot. You know, we had learning reps today out there. You know, there's a couple reps where we had to talk after the play. You know, one of them being on that 4th down play down in the 2 minutes. So, you know, that's going to be a process, right? As he comes in, gets accustomed to what we're doing. I get used to him. You know, there's going to be some growing reps that we have where we got to learn from him. And now I feel confident we're presented that same situation, that we're going to be on the same page, you know. So excited about how we are growing together, but there's going to continue to be some reps like that where, hey, we're just a little off, and we'll be able to grow from it, learn from it, and hit it the next time.
Congratulations, folks. We will have football on our TVs tonight. The NFL preseason officially kicks off between the Cleveland Browns and the New York Jets in the Hall of Fame game at 7 o'clock on NBC. The Nashville Sounds have not been rained out yet as they are back at First Horizon Park hosting Durham, the AAA affiliate of the Tampa Bay Rays. Pregame begins at 6:20 with first pitch at 6:35 on your home of the Sounds, 94.9 The Fan. From the Game Nashville studios, this is Ian Safar.
Live from the Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical Studios. WPRT FM Pegram, WPUZ HD2 Laverne. Broadcasting on Alexa.
I appreciate that.
And other smart speakers. 102.5 and 106.3.
And a score!
You can run different offenses.
The doors on the board.
Off the field, on the field.
The Game.
A Cromwell Media Station.
Where you have a voice.
He had a competent coaching staff. You just play terrible and you keep playing.
And we have strong opinions.
What a whiny freaking crybaby response.
This is Stillman and Company with Jared Stillman on Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Stillman and Company, 102.5, 106.3 The Game, streaming live on Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook Live. Thanks to Superbook Sports, live from the Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical Studios. Today we're at Streetcar Taps and Garden out here in West Nashville. Come on out until 6 o'clock, the Game Summer Ticket Tour. You register for tickets. You hang out here for a little bit because every 30 minutes we're giving away tickets, and we're giving away good tickets. And you win some tickets. Can't promise you'll win them, but you got a good chance. You'll win some tickets and head on to whatever show it may be. We got tons of great shows and games and all kinds of stuff for you to pick from. And again, we're out here, that Streetcar Taps and Garden out here in West Nashville on Charlotte Avenue. TD's with us for the TD Power Hour. A little breaking news, TD. The Titans have released Jamarco Jones at 3 o'clock today. This follows Tuesday's practice where he was with the starting unit, and he and Jeffrey Simmons got a little tied up, and I think he threw a punch and got kicked out of practice. And then today, Jamarco Jones had an illegal crackback block on Jack Gibbons, in which, I mean, it got the defense all riled up.
Yeah.
But Vrabel was asked about Jones' crackback block, which he said was illegal, and then was asked if that and the fighting, 2 15-yard penalties in 2 days for a guy who was given the first opportunity to replace Nicholas Petit-Ferrer, was it hurting his chances of making the club a couple hours ago? Here's what Vrabel said.
That's two times that he's disappeared from practice early. Is he hurting his chances?
Well, I mean, I think you have to just know how to practice. We talk all the time about being competitive and going to that line, and certainly not going to do anything that hurts the team. We don't want to see that.
AKA, yes. And Jamarco Jones was essentially fired by the Titans. TD, I guess let's start there. I was going to ask you your reactions from practice so far, but we got the news that Jamarco Jones is out. He was first in line to play right tackle. And, I mean, now Hubbard's in there, but what do we make of it?
Wherever he goes next, they need to call him Rocky. You know what I mean? Because he seems to always get into fights. You had the one with in the brief period of time where he was practicing. You had the one with Taylor Lewan.
Yep.
And then of all people, you want to fool with Jeffrey Simmons. Like, that's silly. And then you're going to turn around, and that crackback, that was completely – I think we were standing next to each other.
Yeah.
That was – I couldn't see who it was initially, but that was completely uncalled for, and Aziz Al-Shaater took action, to that, and they had the back and forth. It was Chance Campbell that actually got hit. Jim Wyatt went back and watched, and he let us know when we were in the I almost said locker room. We were in the media room. But how do you just – waste away an opportunity like that? You finally have a chance. Nicholas Petit-Ferrer suspended 6 games. You finally have a chance to fight for a starting spot, and this is the foolishness that you do. And you made a good point when we were leaving practice on Tuesday. You had said, you got to keep your cool. You're fighting for a job. How are you going to let Chris Hubbard get more reps, a whole practice of reps? And that was a great point.
No, and not only that, but like Vrabel's known Jamarco Jones since he was in high school. This isn't just some guy that Vrabel. The reason when they brought him in, because he was a backup in Seattle, part of the reason that they brought him in was because they thought that there was more to his game than he was given in Seattle. And so they wanted to give him an opportunity, and he was battling last year for the left guard spot with Aaron Brewer before he lost that. And then he got hurt for the whole season. And then he was kind of forgotten all offseason. Then Petit-Ferrer gets suspended. And Vrabel was talking about him as early as the beginning of camp last Tuesday, like, oh, no, we want to go with what's in here, and, we're going to give Jamarco a chance, and Rupchich and OJ, and we're going to give those guys a chance to play right tackle. Then he gets called for an illegal crackback block, and they just fired him. I mean,
talk about setting an example, man.
I don't know. I think there's 2 lines of thinking here. I mean, I asked Ian the other day because Floyd used to hate Kevin Pamfield. Like, the 2 players Floyd didn't like were Kevin Pamfield and Darren Bates. And he didn't like Darren Bates because Darren Bates took his helmet off on the field in the middle of a preseason game.
I remember that.
And he never let it go. And whatever. But he hated Pamfield. Like, he said that when Pamfield returned from injury, that he would get him practicing. He'd go to Anthony and film, say, do we have him on camera? Yes? All right, send him to my office. And he'd just fire him right away. And we joke, me and Ian do, about how Jamarco Jones is the new Pamfield. And it feels like he's going to end up playing just as much as Pamfield did for the Titans.
Yeah, I think they're going to have the same title, former Titans offensive lineman.
And it's like, did they play in games? Kind of.
Yeah.
Not really.
What a mess.
So what do you make, though? Now, let's start on the offensive line then with the Jamarco Jones news, because he had already lost the starting spot in practice to Chris Hubbard. So what do we make of that right tackle situation on a line that has had its issues so far in camp?
Well, Chris Hubbard is a guy that Mike Vrabel seems to have somewhat of an affinity for. When he's asked about him, you see him smile a bit, and he was like, man, the guy came in, and 30 minutes later, he's out there competing. And he said that each day he's gotten better. Golden opportunity for him right now. You go from being on the street a week before camp to or into camp, a couple days into camp, to on a roster and fighting for a starting spot. So you got him. I still want to see more of OJ, John Ojukwu. Want to see that. Jalen Duncan continues to be an intriguing option for that spot. Also, the size, athleticism. As you know, solid pass rushers come from both sides. I mean, we see that every day in practice with this Titans defense. So I think it's really going to come down to those guys going to have to emerge. Somebody's going to have to. And, I mean, honestly, if it were me and I was making a decision, I would say, let's work to get Hubbard ready. I think that's the one. He's a veteran, right? I wouldn't want to rely on a, 5th-round pick offensive lineman and an undrafted one coming in and starting there. That's tough.
And I think Duncan, like, my opinion of him, I think he screams project to me because he's got the size.
And all the athleticism.
He's got those 2 things working for him, but he wasn't, at the bottom of the screen, I think it was NFL Network, but it might have been ESPN. When he got picked, it said at the bottom, led the Big Ten in sacks allowed.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, that's not a good stat to have.
Yeah, you don't want that.
But then I see how big he is and how strong he is and how fast he is, and I'm like, this might be a guy, and I see them working with him on his technique, and they're really pushing him, making him go over again in drills. And today he had a false start in the 2-minute drill with Malik Willis, and those are things that just can't happen.
Can't have that.
And
At right tackle, he had that false start also, because he's been working both sides.
And so I almost kind of take him out of it. I mean, I think they may be at the point where it probably is Hubbard's job.
It probably.
And that probably also is why it was easier for them to punt on Jamarco Jones today.
Yeah, well, you figure Hubbard very quickly started to get some first-team reps, if you remember, because, it wasn't always Jones. You had John Ojukwu getting them also. So you look at that. But let me ask you this, though. Do you move Skoronski?
I would move Skoronski. I mean, I want Skoronski playing left tackle.
Left tackle, yeah. But do you bump him to right?
I don't think so, because that would be kind of for a quick fix kind of thing. And what's the end result of if me and you are Rand Carthon and Mike Vrabel, what is the end result of what we want from Peter Skoronski? Do we want him to be our left guard? Do we want him to be our left tackle long term? Do we want him to be our right tackle? Because whatever it is that we want him to be, that's what I would say. We're sticking him there, and he's going to play there until he proves to us that he can't play there.
I like what they're doing with Skoronski. I wouldn't move him. And I asked Coach Hodelang today about, in the future, eventually getting him reps there. And I'm talking like this camp. And they said that, they're more or less going to keep him there at left guard. I mean, it's something that the versatility they like, et cetera, leaving the door open. But and I know you always have this take about drafting a guard at 11. Okay, but let's look at this. Jeffrey Simmons, Dexter Lawrence, Quinnen Williams.
Chris Jones.
Well, he didn't do it yet, but it's coming. What's my man in Washington?
Payne.
Deron Payne. $90 million players at what position? Interior defensive line. You ask any quarterback what they hate the most, they'll tell you that quarterback the line being pushed back into their face. Why? Because, and especially in this offense where you want to be able to throw down the field, guess what you have to do? Step into your throw and follow through. If you're following through, you bang your head on the O-lineman, interior guy who's getting pushed back, you bang your hand on his helmet, guess what? You're out for a long time. Long story short, my point is interior offensive line is important. So having him there at left, and I watched him today and throughout camp, and I think we talked about it before also. You see him drop that anchor against a bull rush, even if it's Jeffrey Simmons. He did it against Danico Autry today. Dropping that anchor and stopping it, that's critical to have to do that. So I think Skoronski staying at guard for as long as they need him at that position is good, and it's worth every bit of it because, it's not left tackle, but it's still the most – no one wants the pocket collapse from the interior.
The one thing I think about, too, though, I was talking with Joe about this after practice today, is Demario Davis with the Saints still, and he's an outside rusher, and he's a dog. Joey Bosa week 2, Myles Garrett week 3. I mean, those interior guys are $90 million guys. 2 of those 3 guys might be $100 million guys.
Yeah, you're right.
And that scares me with Dillard, what we've seen so far out of Dillard against those guys.
Yeah, no, I could see that. But, I mean, a lot of times you have that outside rush. If the inside of the pocket is being held, guess what they could do? Exactly what I've been complimenting Malik Willis for doing. That 2 hands on the ball, the shoulder, boom, climbing the pocket. If you could climb the pocket, as an offense like Dillard or whoever's at right tackle, you could have the guy coming off the edge. You could let him get deep and just kind of like run himself out of the play if the quarterback could bump himself up in the pocket.
I do think this, though. Those great defensive tackles you're talking about, they make the guys on the outside, I think they make them richer. And I think Shaq Barrett's a good example of that in Tampa. Now, he's good. But with Vita Vea in there in the middle.
Eating up all that, yeah.
I mean, I think that makes a difference. I think Landry, when he had his 10-sack season or whatever it was a couple years ago, I think it was really important that he was playing next to Simmons. I just keep thinking to myself, the best guards in the league right now make $20 million. The best tackles make $27 million. and the edge rushers make more than the DTs, and it's like the league is telling us that value.
Yeah, no, look.
And if Skoronski can be like a franchise left tackle, then it's like, got my left tackle, done.
Yeah, I just – there's no denying left tackle value versus guard. There's no denying that. But I still think the position is important enough to where, okay, you have a guy that you believe could be a left tackle for you in Dillard. They believe that, right? So if you believe that, you let him stay there, you put Skoronski at guard, and you could always move him outside. You could move him to tackle at some point, because remember, this deal is really just a 2-year deal for Dillard. So if need be, year 2, they can move him out there.
Let's stay on this, because I do kind of want your assessment of where Dillard is right now in camp. We'll do that on the other side. TD's with us as we're live today out at Streetcar Taps and Garden out here in West Nashville for the Game Summer Ticket Tour. Again, we're here till 6, giving away good tickets every 30 minutes. That's right. So come on out, register to win, and I think you got a nice chance of winning. Tune into 102.5, 106.3 The Game for driver interviews leading up to the Big Machine Music City Grand Prix presented by Lincoln Tech's NADC and the Nashville Sheriff. The Big Machine Music City Grand Prix will be 3 days of racing, 3 days of music, one huge weekend event. Go to MusicCityGP.com for tickets and get ready to experience Nashville's premier speed and sound event tomorrow through Sunday.
Here we go, in and out of the huddle.
Training camp is underway in the Music City.
We want to try to make sure that we're developing a team.
And we have you covered.
Could Peter Skoronski be an option at tackle?
How quickly can DeAndre Hopkins get going?
We'll be broadcasting live from training camp with the latest news and storylines from practice.
Ryan Tannehill, in the last year of a contract, it's a different team, it's a different roster.
Training camp coverage is brought to you by the Simmons Bank Open, Caudle Vet Clinic, and Parman Energy on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Nashville is growing, but we remember our roots here.
The fairgrounds, my family and I have so many memories there. It is full of history, it is full of culture, and it is full of Nashville.
There are some folks who want to tear down our historic fairground speedway.
When you do that, you lose part of your story.
Don't tear it down, make it better.
I'm not necessarily a racing fan, but it's a part of the fabric of the neighborhood.
When you lose something, guess what? It doesn't come back.
Don't take away my history.
Let's make sure we don't lose another piece of what makes our city so special.
Are you drowning in credit card debt? Want to get cash out of your home's equity? Loan Pronto can do it now in less than a week. Hey, Willie Donick here. That's right. Loan Pronto's Equity Express line of credit just got even faster. You can get $50,000, $100,000, even $200,000 in as little as 5 days. You don't even have to touch your primary mortgage. You can keep that 3% rate intact. Get just the money you need and pay off all those credit cards or get that home improvement project started. With this revolutionary program, you can access up to 90% of your home's value, and in most cases, there's no appraisal. Stop paying insane interest rates to the credit card companies and get tens or even hundreds of thousands of dollars in cash in as little as 5 days. Call Loan Pronto now for the even faster Equity Express line. 615-499-5780. That's 615-499-5780 or go to loanpronto.com. 615-499-5780. Equal Housing Lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval.
Hey, what's up? It's Chase McCabe here for Superbook Sports. Football season is right around the corner, and now is the time to place your preseason bets with Superbook right here in Tennessee. Superbook is the most trusted name in Vegas, and now you can use my promo code CHASE to score up to $250 with your first bet bonus. Win or lose, they will match your first bet up to $250 simply by dropping my name, Chase, C-H-A-S-E, in the promo code. Will Tennessee win the division this year? Who is your pick for MVP, and which team will win it all in February? Don't sit on the sidelines. Win money this season with Superbook Sports. Just download the Superbook Tennessee app or visit superbook.com to place your wagers today. Football, a $250 first bet bonus simply by using Chase in the promo code slot will make you do your own touchdown dance this season with Superbook Sports. Visit superbook.com for terms and conditions. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-889-9789.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? Thinking about gas mileage. You know, changing your oil with a full synthetic oil like Pennzoil Platinum can help your engine get more miles. Right now, you can get 5 quarts with an STP Extended Life Oil Filter for only $35.99. Get started on your next job today with the parts you need when you need them at AutoZone or AutoZone.com.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
We try to stay cool by being on social media.
I'm with it. I'm hip.
Follow us on Twitter at 1025 The Game and on Instagram at 1025 The Game Nashville.
Hey!
Oh, yeah, and like us on Facebook, too. Strong opinions and a strong personality on your drive home. This is Stillman and Company on 1025 and 1063 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
When there's a lot of turnover in that unit, you almost expect that early in camp.
I would say that that's probably going to be the way that it is, you know. I don't know what everybody else is doing, but just my experience early on in camp, just because they haven't had that work in the off season. You know, we don't have spring practice. We don't have padded spring practices. We don't rush live in the off season. So we're trying to develop players to probably do one of the toughest skills that we would ask any player out there on the field to do at any position is pass protect an elite athlete without the reps of an off season other than punching a bag or a stationary target. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, that's a little quicker than what we practiced in April and May. So we'll just keep progressing and trying to get those guys to work together as a unit.
There you go. That was Vrabel talking about the offensive line. TD's with us live at Streetcar Taps and Garden out here for the Game Summer Ticket Tour out in West Nashville. So, TD, we talked about the Titans releasing Jamarco Jones. I would agree with you. I think that's probably Chris Hubbard's job to lose now at right tackle. We talked about Skoronski at left guard. You're kind of working me there towards accepting reality that Skoronski's going to be the left guard. Then there's left tackle with Andre Dillard. And there's the offensive line as a whole. Now, Derek did say to me today, he was like, I said, be honest with me. Like, does it really take time for the offense to get ahead of the defense? Or is this just, we want to make people feel better, so we just say, oh, no, it takes time. And he said, no, it takes time. He said it takes time. I am concerned about the offensive line. I feel like the it takes time benefit of the doubt for me, especially with Dillard and especially with the offensive line, is hard for me to come to grips with because of what the offensive line was like last year. And I think I have this unbelievable fear that it's going to be the exact same. And I like DeAndre Hopkins. I think Burks looks great. I think Okonkwo looks great. I think Chris Moore is starting to kind of really. But if Tannehill can't throw the ball, then it's not going to matter.
Right. And
so what have been your reaction to the offensive line?
Yeah, they have to get better. That's the bottom line. I will say, there were a couple of things I saw from Dillard today. Arden Key did kind of push him back one time to Tannehill's face, but I saw him do a really good job handling the speed of Harold Landry off the edge. Mm-hmm. There was one where allowed Tannehill to step up and, make a throw, and that's what we were talking about last time. When you had that speed rush, if the quarterback can step up, it's okay, And
was that the deep ball he missed Hopkins on?
Yeah. So when you look at that, and that time to throw that deep ball was there because he was able to absorb that rush and just kind of run him out of the play. Mm-hmm. And not every block has to be a pancake. Just keep him out the way to give your quarterback space to operate. I think the interior part of it is interesting. I want to keep watching Daniel Brunskill, especially in one-on-ones, because he's facing some of the best bull rushes in the league. And I know initially there was a little trouble with Jeffrey Simmons, but he started to level out. Skoronski is your rock, though. Mm-hmm. That is your rock.
He mauled somebody in the red zone on a running play.
On Spears.
Yeah, Spears just walked right into the end zone because Skoronski cleared out an entire highway for him.
Yeah, and that's –
it was like the president of the United States was running the ball, and the Secret Service had cleared out
through.
For everybody.
Yeah, and that's the thing that he brings. So I know the whole size thing with Brewer is something that a lot of people hate, but I tell you what, you look at him a lot of times in the run game, like he's had some really good blocks. You look at the Jaguars game, he and Jordan Roos, man, they got down the field and they were getting loose, man. They were opening some lanes. So I personally like Brewer as the center. I think it also gives you opportunities to do things just as far as you could pull him and have him get out in space and block for you, in the different ways that they'll look to get guys the football quickly, whether it's Spears, Hopkins, whoever. I think the offensive line has potential. I don't think they're going to be good, but I think they're going to be serviceable and allow things to happen. but play calling will too. And that's what you're starting to see, right? A lot of that.
He's moving Tannehill.
Yeah. Booting him out, but also like catch and throw quickly. You know what I mean? Get the ball out the hands.
So one thing I think about Dillard, when they signed him, I put on the tape of when he played left tackle for the Eagles and they moved Jordan Mailata to right tackle.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a game on Monday Night Football against the Cowboys. And he was really matched up with Micah Parsons for a lot of that game. And what I was actually optimistic about Dillard after watching that Cowboys game because he didn't push Micah Parsons back, but he just stayed in the way. He just kept Micah Parsons from getting to Jalen Hurts.
Exactly.
So far, he hasn't been able to do that with Arden Key, and that is concerning to me because I see the tape. I mean, if you're able to do that with Micah Parsons, you should be able to do that with Arden Key.
Well, you know the difference, though, is the length. Like, you talk to anybody that goes against a rusher like Arden Key, it's just like, man, he gets up on me so quickly. You know what I mean? Because not only is he 6'5", but his arms they have to be at least 32, 33 inches. So there's just – and then the violence that he gets off the ball with too. So I think that's probably the difference. And it's going to take some getting used to, man. But, I mean, they, without a doubt, have a lot of area for improvement.
I want to see Vrabel play the starting offensive line in the preseason this year.
They should.
I think they need the reps. You know, I don't know if you've heard me talk about this, but I've got the varsity and the JV. And so, like, Tannehill and Henry and Burks and Hopkins and Okonkwo, they don't need to play in the preseason. They're the varsity team.
Right.
Just like I don't need to see Kevin Byard in the preseason. He's on the varsity. Brewer is probably the only lineman that I would say, like, okay, he's earned a varsity letter. But because I want the other guys to practice, I want them to practice with him. And so I would run the risk of getting, you know, the reason they don't want to play guys in the preseason is they don't want guys to get hurt.
Yeah.
I would run the risk of that just to get these guys the live game reps and to give the Titans a chance with pads, with hitting a quarterback, with those things to be able to evaluate this line.
Yeah, well, we were texting back and forth yesterday about the starters last year. The first game, it was 7 reps for the starting O-line. The second game, it was between 14 to Ravens had 26, I want to say. So they did start to get those guys together in the second game. I think it should be even more. This, I think they need – I would give them 2 to 3 series this first game because you're in the process of, okay, we got this center to the left side. We know what's going on there. I want to see how the right guard and right tackle, how are they? You know Brunskill is going to be the starter. He's also, by the way, very, very good to talk to.
Brunskill is?
Awesome to talk to. But you have –
I've noticed all the guys Rand Carthon brought from San Francisco have that trait.
Yeah.
Al Shire's good to talk to.
Yeah.
Arden Key's good to talk to.
He is, yeah.
Brunskill's good to talk
Yeah.
to.
So you look at that, I think at the very least, your right tackle and right guard combo, right now, it looks like it's Brunskill and Hubbard. Give them some time to work together, see what you got, and then do what you did last year. And, okay, Petit Ferrer had 18 or 36 reps or a high amount of reps in the first game. The second game, when you were closer to putting him at a starter, it was a little bit closer to the reps that Ravens got, and now you're able to really, truly evaluate.
Hit your questions for TD at 615-737-1025. We'll hit those at the bottom of the hour as we always do. I do have one quick thought, though, to kind of shoehorn in here. I do believe, and I know it's early at practice, and I know that if the offense does well, then that means that your defense didn't do well, and if your defense does well, then it means your offense didn't do well. If you told me that the Titans' offensive line would just be, the word you used was serviceable. If you tell me the Titans' offensive line will be serviceable this year, I think the Titans are going to probably win somewhere north of 10 games this year.
10 games is something that is very, very attainable.
Even with a bad line, I think it might be attainable. But
with it being 7.5 or whatever it is,
yeah,
I would take the over.
Absolutely. TD's with us, 615-737-1025. Again, we're at Streetcar Taps and Garden for the Game Summer Ticket Tour. And come on out, register to win these tickets. You stay here, you got a really, really good chance. I think the rain has also scared off some people. Got a really good chance to win some of these tickets. You can watch us streaming live on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook Live every day. And our video streaming is brought to you by Superbook. Download their app today and use promo code THEGAME. I thought today was Malik Willis's best day at practice. That comes a couple days after what I thought was Will Levis's best day at practice. What about that backup quarterback battle? TD weighs in on it next. Stillman and Company, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
Every day we are live and local.
It will help them get better players.
I'm really excited about this defensive front.
And your source for Nashville sports.
They had missed the playoffs.
Those players may end up being practice squad guys.
We are Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
In St. Pete, Clearwater, Florida, every day is a beach day. With 35 miles of sugar white sands and emerald green Gulf waters, it's no wonder why. Let's unwind under the sun on Clearwater Beach, ranked #1 beach in the South by USA Today readers. And then liven up the night at the Sound, a new outdoor waterfront concert venue featuring performances this summer by Peter Frampton, the Goo Goo Dolls, and more. Let's shine. Plan your getaway at visitstpeteclearwater.com.
Join 102.5 The Game, Brentwood Fire and Police, the Williamson County Sheriff's Office, Nolensville Fire, and Franklin Fire Departments for the 10th Annual Williamson County Battle of the Badges Blood Drive, Wednesday, August 16th from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. at the Brentwood Library. This year's blood drive will be in honor of Nolensville Fire Chief David Windrow and retired Brentwood Assistant Police Chief Tommy Walsh. Support the 10th Annual Williamson County Battle of the Badges Blood Drive held August 16th and 17th from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. at the Brentwood Library on Concord Road. Sponsored by B.L. Harbert International.
312 Pizza Company is a proud sponsor of Nashville Sounds Baseball on 102.5 The Game.
The Nashville Sheriff wants to pay you $55,700 a year. Now hiring correctional officers. Positions are available immediately. You must be 21 and over with a high school diploma or a GED. Come, join our family and earn $55,700 after paid training and probation. Apply now at sheriff.nashville.gov/apply or call 615-862-8170. Stop searching. Apply now. The Nashville Sheriff.
Duck River Raceway Park, rev up for the Deep Pride 75. Presented by Hunt the Front Super Dirt Series this weekend. Don't miss open practice on Friday, August 4th with 4 divisions including limited late models and the heart-pounding action on Saturday with super late models on August 5th. Catch the baddest super late models in the 75-lap showdown at Duck River Raceway Park. The winner claims $20,000 while history is made with a $60,775 super payout. The biggest ever. Get details at duckriverracewaypark.com.
He knows the ins and outs of the Titans and isn't afraid to give his opinion.
Traylon Burks needs a massive offseason.
He's Jonathan Hutton of Outkick.
I don't see how they make a move without going to Ryan Tannehill.
Catch him every Monday at 10:30 on Chase McCabe and every Wednesday at noon on Caroline, Willie, and D-Mace. Hutton is on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Hey Nashville, Trey Wingo here. You're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Mike, how much do you trust Malik more this year operationally to make the right reads compared to how he was last year as a rookie?
Well, I don't think it does us any good to go back and say where Malik was or how far he's come. I think that he's competing. I think he's much more comfortable. I see a much more confident player. And therefore, it's easier to coach him. I think that's been the thing here. It's just been easier to coach him because he does have just a greater knowledge, an understanding, a comfort level. And there's mistakes like every other player, but it's been easy, I think, to coach him because he kind of knows maybe before you bring something up or even ball security when he's scrambling and he's trying to leave the pocket and making sure that there's 2 hands on the football or whatever it may be. So not really focused on where he was, focused on where he's at now and making corrections and continuing to improve. And threw one in there, stood in there today. I mean, got the center and the nose guard and the running back standing on his lap, and he, flicks it in there to Racy and, a tight window, and had to put some steam on it to Josh, who made a great catch. So there's going to be a lot of things that are positive, and there'll be some things that Tim and Charles will get cleaned up.
There you go. That was Vrabel today talking about Malik Willis. TD, I actually thought that was really well handled by Vrabel. I mean, I wasn't trying to trap him by saying how much more do you trust Malik this year than you did last year. But, how the coaches are, we don't want to talk about last year. We want to talk about this year. But I think it's pretty obvious that Vrabel trusts Malik a lot more this year than he did last year. So let's just no lead up from me. What do you think about the Titans' 2 backup quarterbacks and the backup quarterback battle?
I think it's very intriguing, and it's 2 young quarterbacks, and it's not often that you get 2 guys who were relatively high draft picks in the same quarterback room, right? I mean, you don't see that too much. So that's a good thing. This position can be built into a strength as you see Willis continuing to progress. I like the fact, and Charles London, I talked to him about that competition, and he had the ultimate quote. He said they wanted to be competitive but not combative. And he really likes the way that they're supporting each other. But they're going out there and competing because, as Traylon Burke said, as a man, you don't want the next guy to be better than you. So that's what you're seeing, and they're pushing each other, but they're also helping each other. I think it's a really good situation.
So I'm going to do the roster locks before the first preseason game next week. I mean, I think it's a lock 3 quarterbacks going to make the team.
Agreed.
One thing I would say is I don't want to, until the first preseason game, kind of like handicap where I think the 2 guys are. But I do think that they both offer something to me that would make me feel more comfortable about them if they ended up being the backup quarterback. With Levis, it's how his game more models Tannehill's than Malik's does. So that if I've got a whole set of plays for Tannehill and then he goes down with an injury, I put Levis in there and we can run the same scheme that we had dialed up for Cleveland or the Chargers or whomever. With Malik, I feel like he's been more consistent so far. Like his ball placement could be a little bit better, but with Levis, some of his balls are just insanely gorgeous, and some of them are 8 yards over a guy's head. And I haven't seen that as much with Malik. And Malik offers more game experience so far in the NFL and the ability to run if things break down with a line that we know is a little suspect. So I almost feel like I can make the argument for both guys here.
Yeah. Willis has definitely been more consistent. I think you can keep the offense relatively the same. In fact, I think with Willis you could expand it a bit. And you saw them a couple times, even the play that the fight happened on. You have kind of like an option look that you could do with Willis. I think you could do it with Levis and Tannehill also, but you're more likely to do it with Willis because he's more dynamic as a runner. I really believe that you could keep it the same. But to your point about the throws, man, Levis had a throw to Alize Mack or Elise Mack on the corner route. Woo. And I don't normally, get too caught up in the play, but I was like, oh, look at that. Beautiful placement on that. And, Willis, he's had a couple also. You talk about the one that
Colton Dowell
on a similar route. I think they both have a lot that they bring. It's just the belief is that there's more upside in Levis than Willis. And I don't know. I don't know. It's going to be really interesting watching that thing play out.
So I saw a throw from Malik today. I want your opinion on this that I think shows to me how far Malik's come. And it was when they were in the red zone. I can't remember if it was 7-on-7 or 11-on-11. I think it was 11-on-11. And he threw a pass incomplete for Westbrook-Akina, and he threw it too high. But I actually thought it was a great ball because Westbrook-Akina jumped up to try to catch it, and he could have made a play on it. That's the only place that ball can go. Because if he tries to throw it lower, it's either going to hit a safety in the back of the head or it's going to be intercepted, and it's probably more likely when the safety sees the receiver go to try to catch it, probably just going to turn around and intercept it.
Yeah.
So the safest place to put that ball is up. It's not a high percentage throw, but it is the best chance to give your guy only the chance to win that ball. That, to me, is a veteran kind of throw, and I feel like I'm seeing those from Malik this year, whereas last year it was like, let's just hope Malik gets it into the zip code of where it's supposed to be.
Because it was just so much going on for him. And that's where you see the game has started to slow down, and he's more comfortable and relaxed and able to actually do what he does, and that's make plays. I think when you look at some of the throws, especially those ones across the middle, a lot of them were late. Not because he didn't have the arm strength. They were late because he didn't see it and he's trying to throw a guy to a guy that's open as opposed to throwing him open. You're seeing better placement now with that as far as there was the one we talked about, where I think it was Harrison. It was Phillips going across the middle, and it let him out a little bit, and he was able to catch it. There was another one where the guy ran a curl route, and he kind of guided him away from where the safety would have come down and blasted him. Those are advanced type of, especially that one is advanced quarterbacking.
Now, when it comes to the potential of the two, I do believe that Levis has more potential than Willis. But the one thing that I keep thinking about is even though Willis is in his second year in the league and Levis is in his first, they're both 24 years old. So it's, and I'm trying to wonder, so how much, Floyd used to always tell me that for every player, no matter what position, the difference between year 1 and year 2 was the biggest jump that they'd make in their career, which means that Levis is yet to have had that first-year jump, and Willis has clearly had his, but they're a month apart in age. So do we really look at it like, well, he's a rookie, so he counts different than him because he's a second-year guy, or do we look at it as he's 24 and he was born in May of 99, and he's 24 and he was born in June of 99?
This is a discussion I remember in 16, Carson Wentz coming out of North Dakota State and Jared Goff coming out of Cal, right? North Dakota State was a school that not a lot of people knew about, but they're like, oh, that couldn't have helped him. Jared Goff is in a much better. It was actually the reverse. Coming out of college, Carson Wentz was more advanced than Jared Goff because of the offense that he was in, what it asked him to do, making all the adjustments. He was an NFL quarterback at North Dakota State. I think you're seeing the same thing in Will Levis at Kentucky versus Liberty.
Malik from Liberty.
And Malik said it. One of the big things that hurt him last year was that, he was coming out of – it's like, okay, you look here, boom. You know what I mean? Whereas Levis, we know, it's well documented, the schemes that he was in, he's had NFL coordinators as college offensive coordinators. So it's going to be a little bit different, right? The learning curve is going to be quicker for him because he's been through and seen a lot of these things. And remember where he played also, he's seen a lot of these more advanced defenses as opposed to what Willis has seen at Liberty.
The one thing I would say yesterday, and I do want your opinion on this, I said that I think that Malik's ceiling is Tyrod Taylor, and Joe and Caroline got mad at me. First of all, I don't think Tyrod Taylor's a bad quarterback.
Listen, he's a very good quarterback, actually, a good backup where he is. Now, he's a guy that he could come in and he could win you some games, you know what I mean? But he's also someone that could come in and
if we were the Giants,
be serviceable.
And we had a choice, okay, either Daniel Jones goes down and Tyrod Taylor becomes a quarterback, or Saquon Barkley goes down and Daniel Jones is out there without Saquon Barkley, which one will we pick?
Oh, I don't want to play without Saquon.
Right, I want Tyrod Taylor out there with Saquon.
Yeah.
I think, when I say that, Tyrod Taylor, he took Buffalo to the playoffs for the first time in 20 years, and then they, drafted Josh Allen and moved off of him. But I don't think he's a bad quarterback. So when I say that his ceiling is Tyrod Taylor, I don't mean that in a bad way.
I think you have to phrase it better. I don't think – I wouldn't have just said Tyrod Taylor. I would have said his ceiling is a very good backup that can win you games in a pinch. There's not going to be a whole lot of drop-off from your starter to your backup.
And
that's
I'm not
the way
convinced.
I would have
Not that I'm a guru. I don't know if Malik has the potential to be an NFL week in and week out starter.
Why not?
Because even though he's gotten better with his ball placement, even that throw to Wiley today where it was just a tick behind him, I wonder if he's ever going to grow into that where timing last year was way off for him and he's gotten a lot better at it. But is he ever going to have the consistent timing of an NFL scheme and when to come open and when to throw the ball and the footwork and everything else? I feel like I look at his consistency and I wonder if he can get there.
But why not, though? Because you've seen the improvement. Remember, the night he was drafted, John Robinson said, this is a guy we're going to break it down, and build it from the ground up.
And then they made him the backup
and
quarterback.
then they made him the backup quarterback. His development was stunted right there.
And the opinions of him.
And the opinions of him. But then you look at this year, the progression that he's made, who's to say he can't make further progression?
Mm-hmm.
I think he can. I definitely think he can. And I think he could be eventually a starter in this league. Now, will he be, a Geno Smith where it opportunity finds itself later and he takes advantage of it? Possibly. Or will he be, someone who never got the opportunity and just kind of bounced around? I don't know. But I definitely think the potential for him to do it is there. I think all the ability, everything, you have to look at the situation that he's brought in under.
I see him in between Tyrod Taylor and Tyler Huntley, like where he ends up. And Huntley's not bad, but Huntley is like a backup. You know what I mean? Like just truly a backup.
I want to see him get the time because he doesn't have backup quarterback ability.
Talking about Huntley or Malik?
Malik Willis.
Okay, yeah.
He has starting quarterback ability to me. There's still a lot of development that has to happen. I want to see him continue to develop and get an opportunity to start like Geno Smith did and see what happens. I mean, before last year, who would have thought Geno Smith would have been comeback player of the year and end up a Pro Bowl?
No, we thought that they were all screwing with us to get the number one pick, or that Drew Lock was going to be the quarterback, or that they were holding out for Baker Mayfield or Jimmy Garoppolo to be released. I mean, we thought they were joking when they said, we might roll with Geno Smith. We're like, okay, yeah, they say they might roll with Geno Smith, but
yeah.
All right, we'll get right to your phones for TD next. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. Again, we are live at Streetcar Taps and Garden out here in West Nashville. Come register to win for the Game Summer Ticket Tour. Let me tell you about PhD Weight Loss. I actually had a coaching session today, and I told him, I was like, hey, I struggled this weekend to stay consistent. And that's why there's a coach, somebody to help keep me in check. I absolutely love what PhD Weight Loss has done to my life, what it's done to my confidence, and it can do the same for you. You go online to myphdweightloss.com. I'm already well past the 20-pound mark. I did have a goal when I started this, but now I've just enjoyed the daily lifestyle so much, the changes into it, that quite frankly, that's where I feel like I've gotten the most out of it. And with their coaching and their food products, in which they'll give you 85% of the food at no added cost, they get the job done. If you don't get within 5 pounds of your target weight by the end of your program, PhD guarantees that they will continue to coach you for free until you do. Again, that's their guarantee. So give it a check. That's myphdweightloss.com. Again, that's PhDweightloss at myphdweightloss.com.
94.9 The Fan is your home for Hit City.
Tonight, your Nashville Sounds continue their 6-game series at First Horizon Park against Durham.
Swing and a miss, strike 3. Sounds win.
Pre-game at 6:20.
On your home of Nashville Sounds baseball. 94.9 The Fan and The Fan app.
Genesis Diamonds is opening up the vault with our largest GIA Diamond event ever. Starting Saturday for a limited time, all our GIA Diamond engagement rings will be marked down 20%.
That's 20% below Genesis' already unbeatable price. This means you can buy like a dealer buys with deep discounts on over $10 million in stunning diamond rings.
These remarkable savings are on every GIA Diamond engagement ring, from a half carat to 20 carats, all shapes too. Rounds, ovals, radiant cuts, cushion cuts, pear shapes, emerald cuts, princess cuts.
Remember, all Genesis diamonds are hand-picked, come straight from the diamond cutters, and are graded by the GIA, the most prestigious gem lab in the world.
At Genesis, our everyday prices are unbeatable, but for this event, we're taking value to a whole new level with an additional 20% savings.
Don't miss this chance to save like never before on that exquisite diamond ring. Buy like a dealer buys.
Starting Saturday for a limited time, exclusively at Genesis Diamonds. Limit 1 per customer, please. Green Hills and Cool Springs. See store for details.
UFC is headed to the Music City, and come party downtown with starfighter Dustin Jacoby and Superbook Sports Saturday night. The fun starts at 3 p.m. with a pregame party at the Landshark Bar and Grill at Margaritaville off South Broadway. Stay for the fights, and then a special VIP post-match party with Dustin Jacoby, hosted by Superbook. Superbook is where you should make your Nashville UFC bets. So download the Superbook Tennessee app, follow Superbook Sports on social media, and come to the Landshark Bar at Margaritaville on Saturday night. Visit superbook.com for terms and conditions. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Willie Donick here for Pella Windows and Doors of Nashville. The official brand perception report for doors and windows is in. Pella Windows and Doors are the leading brand among all others. A few reasons why. Pella is regarded as the highest quality, the most innovative, and the installers with Pella of Nashville lead the way for attention to detail. That's why Pella Windows and Doors of Nashville is one of Pella's top locations in the country. For new doors or windows, I suggest you choose the experts at Pella Windows and Doors of Nashville. Go to PellaNashville.com.
One is a legendary NFL wide receiver.
I gotta be prepared. I have to be ready.
One is a legendary Nashville voice.
You don't have to rely on carrying the ball 250 to 300 times.
And the other has been a legendary trash talker on the playground since the 4th grade.
Nobody is a Pro Bowler on day one of rookie minicamp.
They are Caroline, Willie, and D-Mace. Weekdays at 11 on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app. You're listening to Stillman and Company on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Live again at Streetcar Taps and Garden for the Game Summer Ticket Tour. Again, we're giving away tickets every 30 minutes. Come on out all day right here at Streetcar until 6 and win some tickets to Preds games, Sounds games, Three Doors Down, Guns N' Roses, Depeche Mode, Thomas Rhett, and much more. TD is here with us for the TD Power Hour. TD, do you have a thought or do you want to go right to the people?
Hey, for the people.
Phone lines are driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Lance is going to start us off on Malik Willis. Thank you for calling. What's up, Lance?
Hey, so I got a question that I've been wanting to ask TD for probably since Malik was drafted. So the dynamic between having a guy on the roster like that that's so good with his legs, and obviously he wasn't a great enough passer to start, not even yet, but I always felt like I didn't understand why we wouldn't put him in and get him some carries and take some load off of Derek, because Willis, he's got the juice. He's young, you know, wildcat scenarios, and I'm sure there's some kind of like mental games that play into that with quarterbacks and like taking them in and out, and I was just wondering if you could speak on how viable that is or is not at that level.
No, that's a good point. Now, I don't know about using it to necessarily take reps off of Henry's plate, but using it to give defenses another thing to prepare for and give your offense another dynamic. And it's funny. You ready for this? All right, so I remember when Willis was drafted, I had said it would be good for Todd Downing to work in a package similarly to what the Ravens did with Lamar Jackson, and a little bit further back what Greg Roman did with Colin Kaepernick. You know, somebody on Twitter had the audacity to call me racist. I said,
for that take?
For that take. I said, yeah, look, man, I'm not even going to discuss this with you. Like, I'm not going to be racist.
Well, I mean, the
myself.
Titans did it with Mariota.
Right. So, to get back on track, it definitely would be a good thing. And, in fact, before the Eagles game, one of the things that stood out to me, and I remember doing that SportsCenter hit, was how they had Malik Willis running a lot of Jalen Hurts type plays to give them a good look, an example of what they're going to see. Now, Hurts ended up not running that well, but he threw the ball all over him. But, you know, they wanted to make sure he didn't impact the game rushing it.
Well, the Titans used to use Mariota in that role when Tannehill took over the job in that playoff run, was they'd bring Marcus in for a play or two. And, you know, I mean, Marcus was obviously more advanced than Malik was at this point, but I think the idea is probably still the same. Michael says, TD, who improved more in the offseason, Malik Willis or Treylon Burks?
That's a good question. I'm going to go with Willis because I think Burks at least showed flashes. The Green Bay game, he beat one of my favorite corners in the league in Jair Alexander. You know the way that you gush about GMs? And
sure.
I feel that way. Alexander's one of my favorite players in the league. Love him.
From where?
Go ahead, man. Louisville.
There you go.
But he beat him, and then the Bengals game, you know, he showed flashes. But Willis, you didn't really see much. You were always looking for it. But now you're seeing, okay, these are the types of plays that he was making to make you like, oh, yeah, he's a talented player.
Liam says, how valuable is it to be a Vrabel guy? Do guys with the traits he likes make for better players? I just wonder how far the attitude and work ethic can carry a team.
Yeah, I mean, the attitude and work ethic carries a team a lot. To be a Vrabel guy, you have to be tough. And what every time you talk to someone
I mean, you can still be good. Like, Derrick Henry's a variable guy.
You can still be good. Kevin Byard's a variable guy. Jeffrey Simmons is a variable guy. Vrabel said it himself, about all those guys. I think when you look at after a team plays the Titans, they always say, man, like, that was a street fight.
Mm-hmm.
Like, man, like that team is physical. So you have an identity. And I think, when you contribute to that identity, you're going to help the team.
A texter says to TD, do you think that the offensive line is going to be able to stay healthier this year and better overall than last year? What percentage would you say they would be better than last year's offensive line?
Well, I mean, look, man, just swapping out the 71s, I think alone is going to make it better. You don't have Dennis Daly there anymore, who just, bottom line, just wasn't able to cut it.
Poor Dennis Daly.
I think Dillard will at least be better there. Skoronski, look, man, I'll say this line will probably be 30 to 40% better, which is serviceable. That you keep coming back to that word. It's serviceable. You're not going to dominate opposing pass rushers, but I think they could absorb them enough to where Tannehill isn't always running for his life like he did last year.
Do you think they regret not signing George Fant after what's happened to Jamarco Jones the last 2 days?
I don't think so. I don't think so.
Kinston says, do you think Ryan Tannehill can become the first two-time winner of the Comeback Player of the Year award? And how has Caleb Murphy looked in pads? Let's start with the Tannehill one.
I mean, yeah, it's possible. He could be look, man, in this offense, the way this passing game looks, he very well may have a 4K passing yards year.
They're going to have to be 14-3, and Tannehill's going to have to throw for 4,500 yards, and he's going to have 40 touchdowns and 5 interceptions before anybody will give him any credit at all outside of here.
I'm not going to completely shut it down because, you look at what they did. He didn't have a whole lot of passing yards in 19, and they didn't have the best record in 19, but they went to the AFC Championship game, and, they kind of rode that into the Comeback Player of the Year. So I think it's possible, definitely. As for Caleb Murphy, he's a guy, seeing him work a lot on teams, but also – he's getting some good pass rushes. He got one where it was a would-be sack, and then he and was it Peavy? No, it was 94, Jaleel Johnson. They combined on another would-be sack. So he's starting to surface. I think he ends up being that fourth or that fifth outside backer that they keep. So he's one of the UDFAs I think will make the roster.
Peavy's pretty good, by the way.
Peavy, and then you're talking about the interior.
Mm-hmm.
He's a guy that's getting reps. When Simmons got the boot, he was – he and the other 72, I forget his name. I think it's McClendon. I think it's
T.J. McClendon.
I think it's the other 72. I forget his name because there's two. There's one on offense and there's one on defense. Or it might be Shelvin. Whoever it is, they were getting some reps there. So,
Texter says, TD, how does this team feel different for you for a Ran Carthon team compared to a John Robinson team?
It doesn't necessarily – well – this group of guys that they brought in are all more athletic. I think that's something. There's clearly an emphasis on, that relative athletic scores. Everybody that they brought in was – I bet Chance Campbell was high on that last year, and I think if there's any difference, it's probably that. But, there's not really because it's still built in Mike Vrabel's image, right? The whole collaboration part of it. Ran Carthon told these guys, make cut-ups of traits you like in players. Those are the guys that me and my guys are going to go get. So I think it's still very similar. And remember, the scouting staff was relatively the same for this particular group. So, it's not going to be a total turn of direction right away.
Well, I think the thing is it feels very similar.
Yeah.
Taking risks on the offensive line, hoping and praying that it feels that way. Kicker, we don't know who's going to do that. Mm-hmm. It's like, and we feel good about the defense. So the same things that, we've kind of felt, and John Robinson was GM right now, it's the same things we're feeling right now about the Titans as a whole.
Yeah.
But I will say this, and I've always told people this, coaching is an immediate impact, right? You fire a coach, you hire a new coach, and the players either respond to that coach or they don't, or you call a good play in a game and it ends up as a touchdown and it has an immediate effect. GMing to me has like a 2, 3, 4 year effect, where right now and last year on the offensive line, the Titans were feeling it because they drafted Isaiah Wilson and Dylan Radins, and like the 2020 draft hurt them in 2022 and 2023, and that's where I feel like GMing really should be evaluated more so than just, well, our team's not good this year, so our GM must be bad.
Yeah, that's 100% right. Because as a GM, what you're always doing is you're trying to draft for the future. You know, and that's one of the things the Eagles, I remember they always did that so well. They had Bobby Taylor and Troy Vincent, and they drafted Lito Shepherd. And everybody was like, what the heck are you drafting Lito Shepherd and Sheldon Brown for? Guess who were the starting corners 2 years later?
Yep.
And into that Super Bowl team that lost to the Patriots. Those two. You draft for the future. Everybody said, oh, well, why you draft Amani Hooker? You got Keding Vaccaro and Kevin Byard. Look who's one of the cement parts of the defense now.
I got a story when Amani Hooker was drafted. I was doing a Q&A with Tostitos. I actually thought about this when Amani Hooker was talking today. I was doing a Q&A at the draft with Delaney Walker for Tostitos, where it was like a sit-down 10-minute Q&A, and then Delaney and some fan would like make their ultimate nachos, and I would be the judge to pick which ones are.
Oh, man.
And so I see they drafted Amani Hooker, and Delaney walks into the green room, and he goes, hey, who we draft? And I said, oh, they drafted a tight end. And he goes, that's okay. That's all right. I'll go out there, catch more passes, and they'll still end up paying me more. I said, I'm just kidding. They took a safety. TD, good to see you as always here for the Power Hour. We'll see you tomorrow at practice. Yes, TD, of course, you'll hear him all throughout the week. And, of course, the Talking with TD podcast, I'm sure we get in-depth on camp.
Yeah, we got back and forth, John Glenn and myself and Christian Fulton. It's about a 5-minute back and forth at the end.
Sounds like trouble.
It was good. It was good. It was really good.
TD, good to see you.
Yep.
TD here, as always, 615-737-1025 is our phone number. Jamarco Jones cut, although I did not think that would be a big highlight. I'm not surprised by it. But Ryan Tannehill gives his thoughts on the progress of the offensive line. We'll get to that coming up next. Stillman & Company, again, live at Streetcar Taps and Garden out here in West Nashville, part of the Game Summer Ticket Tour. And let me tell all the fine folks that Superbook Sports invites you to a special UFC post-match party with Dustin Jacoby after the fights on Saturday night at Landshark Bar and Grill, Margaritaville on South Broadway. Follow Superbook Sports on social media for more information.
All this week, tune in for the keyword to text into the game text line at 615-737-1025 for your chance to win a pair of single-day passes to Bourbon and Beyond in Louisville, Kentucky, September 14th through the 21st. Artists performing include Bruno Mars, The Black Keys, The Killers, Brandi Carlile, and more. Again, listen for the keyword all this week. Here on 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
Nashville is growing, but we remember our roots here.
The fairgrounds, my family and I have so many memories there. It is full of history, it is full of culture, and it is full of Nashville.
There are some folks who want to tear down our historic fairground speedway.
When you do that, you lose part of your story.
Don't tear it down, make it better.
I'm not necessarily a racing fan, but it's a part of the fabric of the neighborhood.
When you lose something, guess what? It doesn't come back.
Don't take away my history.
Let's make sure we don't lose another piece of what makes our city so special.
Are you drowning in credit card debt? Want to get cash out of your home's equity? Loan Pronto can do it now in less than a week. Hey, Willie Donick here. That's right. Loan Pronto's Equity Express line of credit just got even faster. You can get $50,000, $100,000, even $200,000 in as little as 5 days. You don't even have to touch your primary mortgage. You can keep that 3% rate intact. Get just the money you need and pay off all those credit cards or get that home improvement project started. With this revolutionary program, you can access up to 90% of your home's value, and in most cases, there's no appraisal. Stop paying insane interest rates to the credit card companies and get tens or even hundreds of thousands of dollars in cash in as little as 5 days. Call Loan Pronto now for the even faster Equity Express line. 615-499-5780. That's 615-499-5780 or go to loanpronto.com. 615-499-5780. Equal Housing Lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval.
Now, your Game Center update.
The Tennessee Titans were back on the practice field today as they got some work done in the bubble thanks to the rain. Quarterback Ryan Tannehill spoke after practice about getting some reps in the rain before they had to move inside.
It was good work. You know, you never know. There's going to be a few games a year that have potential to rain or do rain. So it was good work. You know, we were able to come get some individual in, get some throws in the rain, which was good. I thought QB center, working that wet ball drill, you know, working throwing some some movement into the rain, which was good. So thankful we got that work.
The Titans announced this afternoon that they have released offensive lineman Jamarco Jones. Jones was involved in 2 scuffles during practice this week. Well, we made it. We will have football on our TVs tonight. The NFL preseason officially kicks off between the Cleveland Browns and the New York Jets in the Hall of Fame game at 7 o'clock on NBC. The Nashville Sounds have not been rained out yet as they are back at First Horizon Park hosting Durham, the AAA affiliate of the Tampa Bay Rays. Pregame begins at 6:20 with first pitch at 6:35 on your home of the Sounds, 94.9 The Fan. From the Game Nashville studios, this is Ian Safar.
Live from the Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical Studios. WPRT-FM Pegram, WPUC HD2 Laverne. Nashville's exclusive home for the Nashville Predators. 102.5 and 106.3.
79-52 Vanderbilt. And I think he's going to coach him up by Cheryl.
You're going to see more moves. The Game.
A Cromwell Media Station.
Where you have a voice.
He had a competent coaching staff. You just play terrible and you keep playing.
And we have strong opinions.
What a whiny freaking crybaby response.
This is Stillman and Company with Jared Stillman on Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Stillman and Company, 102.5, 106.3 The Game, streaming live on Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook Live. Thanks to Superbook Sports, live from the Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical Studios. Today, Streetcar Taps and Garden out here in West Nashville on Charlotte Avenue, right here by the Nations. Come hang out with us all day until 6, where if you come in, you're going to register to win tickets. And then every 30 minutes we do a drawing for tickets. Chances are pretty good you're going to win tickets. And this is not to go see some bozo performance or something. We're talking about Three Doors Down's Preds game, Guns N' Roses, Depeche Mode, Thomas Rhett, the All-American Rejects, which they weren't included in the talking points, but I did see those tickets over there. And the All-American Rejects, if you were to say, Jared, what's your favorite band? Not that any of you care, but if you were to say, Jared, what's your favorite band? It would be the All-American Rejects or Eminem. Those would be my two. So, you can go win those tickets as well. And we got the grand prize. You can register to win a pair of tickets to a Titans home game, a pair of tickets in the Eurostone Club at the Preds, a 2-night stay at Opryland Hotel with access to sound waves. Make sure you come down to Streetcar Taps and Garden to register for the grand prize before it's too late. So today at practice, let's go back to Tuesday. On Tuesday at practice, early in 11-on-11, Jeffrey Simmons and Jamarco Jones were kind of locked up a little bit. Kind of like in boxing when the two guys are up against each other and the referee comes in and breaks it up a little bit. And so all I heard was Vrabel say, don't throw a punch. Then I saw somebody's arm go forward. I assume it was Jamarco's, and he was kicked out of practice, and so was Jeffrey Simmons. That was Tuesday. They were off yesterday. They have practice today. And on the ball down the sidelines, I believe it was a throw to Jonathan Ward. Chance Campbell, the second-year linebacker out of Ole Miss, out of nowhere, Jamarco Jones, who's now with the second team after getting kicked out of practice, just knocked the crap on a crackback block, kind of similar to that crackback block Taylor Lewan had when he was against the Dolphins when they crackbacked him on an interception return. They just drilled Chance Campbell. And Vrabel immediately comes over and starts blowing the whistle. And he puts his hand in the air. And because, again, it's practice. We can't hear everything that they say or whatever. He starts putting his hand in the air. I thought he was doing like the referee motion to throw a flag. I think now what he was doing was he was telling Jamarco Jones, get out of practice. And so Vrabel was asked about the crackback block. Here's what he said today.
Was Jamarco's block on Gibbons fair game?
I don't know what that means. What's fair game? I don't use those type of terms. No, I don't. We don't want to practice like that and be a penalty in the game.
Okay, so he obviously didn't like it. Then Vrabel was asked if things like that and the fight are hurting Jamarco Jones' chances of making the team.
That's two times that he's disappeared from practice early. Is he hurting his chances?
Well, I think you have to just know how to practice. We talk all the time about being competitive and going to that line, and certainly not going to do anything that hurts the team. We don't want to see that.
And 2 hours later, they cut Jamarco Jones. He got fired today. Sometimes guys get waived. The Titans signed a center the other day, Jimmy Murray from the Ravens, I believe, who had been on the practice squad last year.
Maybe 2.
Bears?
Something like that, yeah.
Vrabel was asked about him today, and he basically said, we signed a center because we wanted 3 centers to go with the 3 quarterbacks. Makes sense to me, but I feel kind of bad because it's not like they actually think Jimmy Murray's going to help the offensive line. They just need somebody to put the football in between their butt cheeks and hand it to the quarterback. And Jacob Copeland got released so the Titans could do that. Well, I'm sure they didn't enjoy calling Jacob Copeland into the office to say, hey, man, you tried hard, but we're moving in a different direction. He didn't get fired. That's business. Matt Duchene getting bought out when there's nobody there on the Predators to take that spot after having 20-something goals last year, that's getting fired. Jamarco Jones getting kicked out of practice 2 days in a row and immediately getting waived and there not being another corresponding move, that's getting fired. And it is funny. I chuckle inside because Ian and I were talking 2 days ago about how much Floyd would hate Jamarco Jones off the air. And I said to Ian, I go, Floyd would hate Jamarco Jones, wouldn't he? And I was kind of, Ian normally strong words like hate and things like that. Ian, I think you can agree that you don't go all in like I do with words like hate and sucks and things like that.
That's fair.
But you said, yes, you think Floyd would have hated Jamarco Jones.
I did say that, yeah.
And they fired him today, so it didn't take Vrabel long. And Vrabel's known him since high school. Vrabel recruited him when he was the coach at Ohio State, and I think Vrabel's been in the NFL since 2014, so that's how long he's known him for, and he fired him today.
Did Jamarco Jones purposely get into fights?
Well, he got in that fight last year with Taylor Lewan. Now, I don't know what happened to him last year because he got hurt, and then he was going to come back, and then he got hurt, and they didn't play him, and that's where I felt like Floyd was going to hate him was because he hated Kevin Banfield for all the same reasons. But, goodness gracious.
What was his end goal here this week? Getting into these scuffles,
That crackback block. Hey, I'm going to show them. They moved me to the second team. I'm going to show them. I'm going to go commit a 15-yard penalty in practice.
So I wonder there was obviously some type of disconnect, but
they fired him. They fired him today, and I can't say that I blame them. And so Jamarco Jones is out. Now, Tannehill was asked about the offensive line, and I think this is probably more important than Jamarco Jones. I don't want to say I'm skeptical. I don't want to say I'm nervous, even though I probably am both of those things when it comes to the Titans' offensive line. But Tannehill was asked about the offensive line so far and what he thinks. Here's what he said.
How have you seen the O-line develop already just a weekend, and where do you think those guys are with so many new faces?
Yeah, they're working, just like everyone else. You see guys stepping in, kind of battling it out up front, and I've seen some really good things. We've done some really good things in the run game. Pass protection has been improved, I think, and so those are all good things. We just have to keep growing those guys together as a unit, keep gelling, because it plays off of each other so much. It's not 5 guys, on individual islands. Those guys have to be able to play together, just like receivers and quarterback. They have to be able to work with the guy to the left, to the right of them in the run game and in the pass game.
Okay. Hey, they're working. They're coming along. Then Tannehill was asked about, basically, how does he feel as far as whether or not we should be worried about the pass protection issue so far at training camp.
Too early in camp to be that concerned about the pass protection, some of the struggles they had early on.
We're 5 days in, or 5 or 6 practices in, so a lot of work still to be done. I don't think in any aspect of our team is where it should be or where we want it to be. We're going to keep foot on the gas and keep going. I think there's a lot of training camp left and a lot of practices we have left, a lot of time in the meeting room we have left. So got to take advantage of every day, keep the foot on the gas, and keep improving.
Okay, can I just say that I'm nervous? And what leads me to feel nervous is the fact that last year they kept saying the same thing. Hey, offensive line doesn't look very good. Hey, it's early. It's early. It'll take some time. You got to give them a chance. But last year they kept saying that. And then last year, it's like they got to the season, and it's like, yeah, that thing we said about the line, yeah, well, it's not early anymore. And what's the old Yogi Berra saying? It gets early here late. No, it gets late here early. That's it. It gets late here early. And I know, hey, we're in the first week of camp. We can't be too. Well, guess what? You play a preseason game next week. Then you got Minnesota in 2 weeks, 2 days of practice. Then you got the Patriots for 2 practices, and then you're playing the New Orleans Saints. And that game counts the exact same amount as a game in November or December or January. So they're probably all right. Like everybody that says it's too early to tell and it takes time for the offensive line to gel together and it takes time for guys to get the reps and everything else that, hey, it's early, Jared. They're probably right. Tannehill is probably right. Vrabel is probably right. Even Derek today, I asked him because I thought the defense outplayed the offense today. And I said to Derek during a break when the midday show was on, I said, is that normally the case? Or is that what you say, is that the way of sugarcoating a not-so-great offensive team by saying, hey, it's early and it takes time? He said, no. They're telling you the truth. It takes some time. But just because of last year's scenario, it's hard for me to see that the time. Now, Skoronski had a block today where he killed somebody on a running play that allowed Tajay Spears to walk into the end zone like he was the president of the United States and Peter Skoronski was the Secret Service. But because of what happened last year, I'm just so nervous about this offensive line. And the reason why I am so nervous is because, as I told TD last hour, if you tell me the offensive line is serviceable, if you tell me the offensive line is not bad, when you ask somebody, hey, how was the soup over there? It's not bad. If you can give me not bad on the offensive line, this is going to be a good team. They've got a good defensive line. They've got a good secondary. They've got a great head coach. They've got a veteran quarterback. They've got 2 legitimate receivers. They got a tight end who I think is going to be a top 5 tight end in the NFL by the end of the year. They got a punter who bangs the crap out of the ball. Kicker's another concern that it seems to be perpetual around here. But if you just told me the offensive line this year was not bad, then I would feel better. If Mike Vrabel said to me, again, truth serum Vrabel, Jared, I bet my house that the offensive line will get better throughout camp and that come season, the offensive line will be not bad, I would take it immediately. And I'd be the happiest guy in the world. But for some reason, as much as everybody keeps pointing to give it time, give it time, give it time, give it time, I can't shake the idea of what happens when it gets too late. I can't shake that out of my head. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. Add that to the list, 615-737-1025 if you want to weigh in. Trevor gives his thoughts on the Titans' offensive line so far, what he had to say about it, what he's heard out of training camp. We'll get to that coming up next. Again, we are live at Streetcar Taps and Gardens out here in West Nashville. Come on out and register to win the Game Summer Ticket Tour. Tons of great tickets still available. And this place, they got a happy hour. It's going on right now. $10 wings, $12 Burliner barbecue plate, $3 domestics all day, $3.50 Music City Lights, $5 Wiseacre air bath, and a $5.50 Bell's Two-Hearted Ale. Stillman and Company, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
Ryan Tannehill.
To the end zone, touchdown.
Derrick Henry.
76-yard touchdown.
Kevin Byard.
And as he throws, and it's intercepted.
DeAndre Hopkins.
Oh, wow, what a catch.
The Titans are ready for another season as training camp is underway.
Go to your position. Let's go.
Who will win the camp battles? How are the new additions fitting in? Keep it locked to Nashville's best Titans talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Catch Sounds Baseball at First Horizon Park tonight at 6:35 as the Nashville Sounds take on the Tampa Bay Rays affiliate, and we celebrate Throwback Thursday. The team will wear our classic 1978 uniforms, and you can enjoy $2 and $4 drink specials all night. Get tickets at NashvilleSounds.com.
Genesis Diamonds is opening up the vault with our largest GIA Diamond event ever. Starting Saturday for a limited time, all our GIA Diamond engagement rings will be marked down 20%.
That's 20% below Genesis' already unbeatable price. This means you can buy like a dealer buys with deep discounts on over $10 million in stunning diamond rings.
These remarkable savings are on every GIA Diamond engagement ring, from a half carat to 20 carats, all shapes too. Rounds, ovals, radiant cuts, cushion cuts, pear shapes, emerald cuts, princess cuts.
Remember, all Genesis diamonds are hand-picked, come straight from the diamond cutters, and are graded by the GIA, the most prestigious gem lab in the world.
At Genesis, our everyday prices are unbeatable, but for this event, we're taking value to a whole new level with an additional 20% savings.
Don't miss this chance to save like never before on that exquisite diamond ring. Buy like a dealer buys.
Starting Saturday for a limited time, exclusively at Genesis Diamonds. Limit 1 per customer, please. Green Hills and Cool Springs. See store for details.
3 days of racing, 3 days of music, one huge weekend event. The Big Machine Music City Grand Prix is not just a race or a festival, it's an experience. Multiple music stations with Flo Rida, Vince Neil, Chris Jansen, Gavin DeGraw, and more. Fast cars going over 200 miles an hour. And a family fun zone with inflatables, Ferris wheels, kids games, and kid-friendly food trucks. Tickets and premium hospitality are on sale now. Go to MusicCityGP.com for tickets and get ready to experience Nashville's premier speed and sound event.
Today's world is filled with many things that can push any of us to our limit. An upcoming move should not add to that list. When you choose Black Tie Moving, you are going to get a highly awarded Inc. 500 company. From the free estimate by a local professional moving consultant to the red carpet treatment you receive on the day of your move, their trained and dedicated team is there to ensure that they take the stress out of the process. Call 844-920-2966. Then sit back and enjoy the best move of your life.
Real estate investors, get ready for an incredible opportunity. D&M Development is thrilled to announce the Phase 1 presale of 16 non-owner occupied short-term rentals in Nashville's exclusive resort-style community, the New Cumberland. Nestled between Germantown and East Nashville, this exceptional location offers stunning views of the city and the Cumberland River. Each unit features spacious kitchens, 4 bedrooms, and 4 baths, providing the ultimate luxury experience for your guests. Resort-style pools and a wide range of amenities. Don't miss out on this exclusive investment chance. Visit thenewcumberland.com for more information and secure your spot in this extraordinary community.
Want to weigh in on the conversation? It's a brain booster. Slide into our DMs. Or just text or call at 615-737-1025. Our phone line is driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Strong opinions and a strong personality on your drive home. This is Stillman and Company on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
You should be worried. This offensive line has been getting abused by all accounts in training camp. And there's a couple things that stand out to me about that. One is that it is true that the defense will be ahead of the offense early on, because the offense has to build. The defense has to break. And it's easier to break things than it is to build things. And so that's something you expect. But you hope that the offensive line is close enough to that defensive line that they can get better. You've heard the term iron sharpens iron, right? But the way this defensive line is apparently crushing the offensive line, I don't think the defensive line is getting any better, because they don't need to work on the nuances of their pass rush, of their run stuffing technique, because no nuances are necessary. They're just crushing a bunch of overmatched guys for the most part.
There you go. That was Trevor talking about the Titans' offensive line. Now, here's what I am fascinated to see, which is the first Chicago preseason game next Saturday. So not this coming Saturday, but Saturday after that. I think they're going to play the starting offensive line. I want Trevor's full breakdown, because I'm not sure there's anybody, and I'm not just saying like on our station, I'm not sure there's anybody that knows more about this stuff than Trevor. He played every position on the line in the NFL. He did CBS games when Tom Brady was a rookie, or his first year that he was in the league as a quarterback, and he's been doing college football and covering college football for ESPN at a high level for like 20 years. So, I mean, like, I want to know Trevor's expertise after the first Chicago game, when he gets to see all the guys playing and, real hitting and pushing and protecting the quarterback. and so on and so forth. I do want to get to some of your phones. One of them made me laugh out loud in regards to Jamarco Jones getting fired today. Texter says, phone lines, by the way, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. And again, we are live at Streetcar out here in West Nashville. Come on out and register to win tickets. We got plenty of tickets, and you're probably going to win if you come on out and register as part of the Game Summer Ticket Tour. Texter says, how can you be foolish enough to get released from an NFL job for fighting your teammates? Guess we can get his autograph when he greets us at Walmart. So stupid. I saw that and I laughed out loud. I'm not sure that sounded as funny as it did when I read it the first time, but I thought that was pretty funny. Texter says, yes, Jared, you should be nervous about the offensive line. This is the same thing as last year. The offensive line is going to get Tannehill killed. So for all the talk about Malik and Levis, we'll get to see both of them before the end of the year is out. Lord, I hope that's not true. That comes from Wes in Clarksville. I hope that's not true. I mean, TD made a really good point in the last hour that I do want to harp on as much as I talk about the offensive line over the next however many days it is. It can't be worse than it was last year with Dennis Daly at left tackle. Like, I'm not sure it's possible that it's going to be worse than it was last year with Dennis Daly. And if it is the same as last year, I don't know how I'm going to get over that. Texter says, with the Jamarco Jones issues, it sounds like there's been time. It sounds like there's been time to see Hubbard play. I haven't heard people talking much about him, and that's probably good. But could you talk about how Hubbard is doing? What makes him good? What makes him bad? Does he have much of a role on the team after PT comes back? So the thing about veteran contracts in the NFL is that if Chris Hubbard is on the team week one, now I'm sure he's not making a lot of money. My guess is probably like $1.2 million if he makes the team. But if he makes the team week one and is the right tackle at New Orleans, then his money becomes guaranteed for the rest of the year. So does he have a role when PT comes back? Yes, because he'll be on the team. It might be as the swing tackle. One thing I'm not ruling out. Now, I haven't seen them play Petit Ferrer at left tackle, but Petit Ferrer, I believe, was drafted to either be the swing tackle or the eventual replacement for Taylor Lewan at left tackle. Because I think the Titans, as crazy as it sounds, I think the Titans went into last year's draft thinking that Dylan Radins was going to be their right tackle. Why would they think that? I don't know. Why wouldn't they have an insurance policy like bringing back David Quessenberry? Again, I don't know, but that's last year's business. But I think they approached that draft thinking that Radins was going to be the right tackle, and they took Petit Ferrer in the third round, I think, to develop as the long-term left tackle behind Taylor Lewan. And he played left tackle at Ohio State. Paris Johnson, who went 7th overall to Arizona, he played left guard at Ohio State, and PT played left tackle. So what I wonder about, if Dillard is really this bad, and we don't know, but if Dillard is that bad and Hubbard is serviceable at right tackle, could we see PT come back to play left tackle? I don't want to rule that out. But we shall see. We shall see. Right now, I think the idea is that PT is going to take over at right tackle when he comes back, and Hubbard will be the swing tackle. I can't tell you how he's doing other than the fact that I haven't noticed him at all, which, again, for offensive line must be, I think that's a good thing. But he's got the skinniest arms and legs I have ever seen on a fat guy position. Yeah, I mean, normally when you see people who are large, especially when they play in the NFL, they're round and they're big chested because they're always bench pressing and things like that. But their arms are huge. Even if there's some fat on them, like their arms are huge, their legs are huge. If for no other reason, because, well, they got fat legs and fat arms because they're fat. But with Hubbard, he's got skinny arms and skinny legs. Now, I'm not one of these guys. I'm not Floyd. I don't know what that means. Like, oh, yeah, if he got skinny legs, what that means is that his base set when he cut, I don't know any of that stuff. But I do find the skinny arms and skinny legs fascinating. I also wonder how somebody can be 300 pounds and have skinny arms and skinny legs. But then again, God made our bodies all the way, genetically, however it is. Texter into the text line says, you should be scared to death of the offensive line. Remember, it's the Titans. And Vrabel did not go outside the organization to hire a new line coach. I'm going to give this line coach a chance. I like him. He kind of looks like Mike McCarthy, like a younger version of Mike McCarthy. But that's not why I like him, although it is part of why I like him. Ian, why do I like my new line coach for the Titans?
Because he's large.
And what do we know about line coaches?
We like him fat.
We like him fat. The thing about offensive line is it's like a pack mentality. Like, it's like those 12 guys or whatever, and they're like a band of brothers. Like, those guys, it's like a patriotic song. They fight for the guy next to them, and they fight with the guy next to them, and they do it for the honor of the flag. And that's just how they operate. And they're weird like that. Like, they don't brush their teeth. They don't, offensive linemen are weird. Ask Derek about it, about the pack mentality and how dirty these guys can get and things like that. And I think that the line coach is kind of the guy, he's in the trenches with them, even though he can't fight the war with them on Sundays. And so those guys, they're fat guys. And I always think that a fat line coach usually is a good fit with the offensive line because he's one of them. The line coach last year was skinny. And, I had my issues with Keith Carter over the years, although I thought he got dealt a raw hand last year for being blamed for that mess. I mean, those guys stunk. I can't necessarily blame him. But Ken Wisenhunt's offensive line coach was a guy named Bob Bowlesby, and he was rail thin, and he was terrible. And the second that he got fired when Malarkey became the head coach, and he went out and hired Russ Grimm, a former Hall of Famer from Washington, who was large and in charge, the offensive line did a 180. Now, a lot of that has to do with the fact that they drafted Jack Conklin, they signed Ben Jones, but the line was coached much better. And again, we like the big line coaches. And now Dante Scarnecchia in New England, he's short and skinny. He was, for forever, the offensive line guru under Belichick. Now, he's retired twice, and now he's officially retired, but he's the exception to the rule. He's the only good skinny line coach I know of. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. Again, if you want to weigh in on that, 615-737-1025. Now, everybody tells me I have to wait when it comes to the offensive line. I have to take my time before I can get really nervous, even though I'm not sure how much time we have. There is one player in the NFL that I just ask everybody, can we just wait on this player? Can we just give it a second? And nobody wants to do it. We'll get to that coming up next. Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical. With those guys, you don't need to wait. You just make an instant confirmation right on your phone, and Hiller will be out there to take care of whatever it may be that you need. Hiller is keeping you chilling all summer with special deals to keep you relaxed and happy this summer to tackle those necessary home system replacements. And do it this month to take advantage of these special deals. Deals include when you purchase select new HVAC systems, you get two Yeti Trailhead camping chairs, a Yeti Panga 28L waterproof backpack, a Yeti Tundra 75, and 2 Yeti tumblers for free. And get special freebies on Yeti products with every new whole home generator or tankless water heater purchase. Stay chillin' all summer long. Call Hiller today. And Hiller's work is backed by the Happy LB or Services Free guarantee, and I know that because I use Hiller myself. That's Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical, proud supporters of the Preds, the Vols, and Vandy. Hiller. Call the Happy Face Truck today.
Every day we are live and local.
I think Vanderbilt is steady, disciplined.
It's been so long since Tennessee's gotten out of the first weekend.
And your source for Nashville sports.
I don't mind going to another team. You want to know what the coaching staff's going to look like.
We are Nashville's best sports talk. 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
You know it's going to happen, and when your car needs service or repair, remember Mitchell's Mr. Transmission on Gallatin Road, just north of Briley Parkway. Now here's Jim Mitchell.
At Mitchell's Mr. Transmission, we also offer free towing with any major repairs. If your vehicle has a breakdown and you should need any type towing is available through Dad's Towing Service. Dad's is a professional towing company in Nashville that provides all types towing and recovery, 24 hours a day.
You know it's going to happen, and when your car needs service or repair, remember Mitchell's Mr. Transmission on Gallatin Road, just north of Briley Parkway.
Hey, it's Jared for PhD Weight Loss. I've been on this program now for almost 3 months, and I have blown past the 20-pound mark. I absolutely love the way I feel, and I love the way I look. I was at a wedding over the weekend, and I just kept getting compliments about, man, you look great. And honestly, a lot of it is because of how hard I've been focused with my coaching at PhD Weight Loss. That's right. Coach Rachel's done a fantastic job of making this program easy for me to understand and allowing me to feel a sense of control when it comes to my weight loss. And you can do it yourself. It's simple. Go to myphdweightloss.com to check it out and learn about the program. If you don't get within 5 pounds of your target weight by the end of that program, PhD will guarantee that they will coach you for free until you do. That's right. That's PhD Weight Loss and Nutrition, the official partner of the Clemson Tigers organization and fans, and they are online at myphdweightloss.com.
Hey, what's up? It's Chase McCabe here for Superbook Sports. Football season is right around the corner, and now is the time to place your preseason bets with Superbook right here in Tennessee. Superbook is the most trusted name in Vegas, and now you can use my promo code CHASE to score up to $250 with your first bet bonus. Win or lose, they will match your first bet up to $250 simply by dropping my name, Chase, C-H-A-S-E, in the promo code. Will Tennessee win the division this year? Who is your pick for MVP? And which team will win it all in February? Don't sit on the sidelines. Win money this season with Superbook Sports. Just download the Superbook Tennessee app or visit superbook.com to place your wagers today. Football, a $250 first bet bonus simply by using Chase in the promo code slot will make you do your own touchdown dance this season with Superbook Sports. Visit superbook.com for terms and conditions. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-889-9789.
Whether it's college football,
Players might end up not going to Alabama or Georgia.
Or the NFL.
I think that this team wins the AFC South.
Trevor knows. Join ESPN's Trevor Maddich every Tuesday at 4:30 on Stillman and Company as he gives his opinions on the latest from the gridiron.
I'm going to the team where I can get a ring.
Trevor Maddich brought to you by Houston Clinic Orthopedics, where experience matters, on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Hey, Nashville, this is Eli Gold, voice of the Alabama Crimson Tide, and you're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
The greatness of Trevor Lawrence, to be that young, coming out of Clemson, #1 overall pick, the expectations, 6'6" with that arm. When I think about Trevor Lawrence, I think about a Justin Herbert. I think about those kind of comparisons. And to show up in the playoffs and to outperform Justin Herbert in that second half, to be assisted by Doug Peterson, to look at his teammates have the faith in him that they have. I'm telling you right now, Trevor Lawrence is coming. We understand he's the #1 overall pick, so you could say expectations, he's supposed to do this. Well, damn it, he did it. You don't see too many people overcoming a 27-point deficit in the first half, particularly when you were the one throwing 4 interceptions. And to make that kind of immediate turnaround in the same game and come back from that, I think that's a building element there, especially with Doug Peterson, our Super Bowl champion as a head coach of Philadelphia. Being his head coach right now, the name that comes to my mind is Trevor Lawrence. We're not talking enough about him. We need to.
Okay, Stephen A. Smith says we are not talking enough about Trevor Lawrence. Trevor Lawrence, he led the Jags back in that playoff game in which he dug this massive hole for them. He led them back, and he is the next great quarterback because of that one half of football against the Chargers last year in the divisional round of the playoffs at home. Pardon me, but can we let Trevor Lawrence become a great quarterback before we anoint him the next great quarterback? You know, we let Joe Burrow get to the Super Bowl before we anointed Joe Burrow the next great quarterback. Joe Burrow was the #1 pick in the draft. Joe Burrow won a national championship in college. In fact, Joe Burrow won his national championship in college against Trevor Lawrence. And Joe Burrow was taken #1 overall by Cincinnati, and we all thought that Joe Burrow deserved to go #1. And then Joe Burrow got hurt that first year, and we all felt bad. But there wasn't all this talk about, hey, you watch Joe Burrow, he's the next great one, he's the next great one, he's the next great one. No, it was when Joe Burrow started taking teams out, dropping 50 points on them, and then ended up in the Super Bowl and beat Kansas City in a road playoff game in overtime that we said, yeah, Joe Burrow is a freaking awesome. We let Joe Burrow do it before we just anointed Joe Burrow great. And with Trevor Lawrence, most of society does not. They're not letting him become a great quarterback before they start telling us he's a great quarterback. I heard Chase run a cut from Jeff Darlington on ESPN today about how, oh, no, I think the quarterback who's really going to break out is Trevor Lawrence. Maybe, but can we at least let him do it? The two quarterbacks that I hear everybody talk about that just drive me crazy. One is Lawrence, because they want to say that Trevor Lawrence is going to be in the same class as Joe Burrow, Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Aaron Rodgers, Justin Herbert, even though he hasn't done anything to be in the class with them. They want to put Trevor Lawrence there because Trevor Lawrence was the first overall pick and because everybody was told for years and years and years after, as a true freshman, they slugged Alabama in the national championship game, that Lawrence was the next one, that he was the next Andrew Luck, that he was the next Peyton Manning, that he was the next slam dunk, can't miss John Elway out of Stanford, number 1 overall. I'm not there yet. If Trevor Lawrence were so good, and if that game against the Chargers in the playoffs, if that were the defining moment that ushered Trevor Lawrence from a young starting quarterback on an upstart team that got hot at the end of the year to the big boy table of NFL quarterbacks, then don't you think he would have played better in the divisional round against Kansas City when he threw for 217 yards, 1 touchdown, and 1 pick? I mean, 217, 1 touchdown, 1 pick. That's Tannehill stats. So we ignore the fact that he was horrible in the first half. In fact, we look at that as a badge of honor, that he was terrible in the first half of that Charger game, and that they came back and they won. And then what's the end of the story? Did they live happily ever after? Did they go to the Super Bowl like Joe Burrow's Cincinnati Bengals did? No, they did not. They lost in the divisional round of the playoffs against Kansas City. They scored 20 points. He threw for 217 yards, and they couldn't take advantage of a Patrick Mahomes who missed the second quarter for the most part and was severely limited in the second half. But you guys want to tell me he's the next Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow, who's gone on the road to Kansas City and beaten Kansas City in a playoff game. And has beaten Kansas City in the regular season. Come on now. Like, I think it's ridiculous. And the second quarterback, who everybody wants to anoint, to me is Justin Fields. I keep hearing all this talk about Justin Fields. And maybe part of this is because when I was in the car yesterday, after we did the show at the Sounds, and I was on my way home, and I was listening to ESPN radio here on 102.5, they were talking about the pressure on Justin Fields this year. But everybody's talking about Justin Fields like this is the year that he takes the big leap. Can we let Justin Fields do it before we decide that, you know, he's going to be a great quarterback? Because Justin Fields hasn't done that yet. Justin Fields hasn't even come close. They won 3 games last year. Like, they were picking first. So let's slow our roll down on Justin Fields. And let's slow our roll down on Trevor Lawrence. Because they haven't done the things that people are going to assume that they're going to do. Now, if Trevor Lawrence pops and he's the next great one, and everybody's right, and I'm wrong for saying, hey, let's see if he can do it. I think he's going to be a good starting NFL quarterback, kind of like Dak Prescott. Dak Prescott is a solid starting NFL quarterback. I do not think that Dak Prescott is ever going to be Aaron Rodgers in his prime. That's what I think Trevor Lawrence is, and that's what I think he's going to be. But if I'm wrong and Trevor Lawrence is the next great one, then the Titans are screwed. Then that feeling of queasiness that I had when the LA Rams lost to the New York Jets in 2020, then that allowed the Jags to pick Trevor Lawrence, then that will be vindicated. But I'm going to let it happen before I start assuming that it will happen. I also laugh, too, at all the talk about Trevor Lawrence, about, that one half of football. Stephen A's yelling and screaming about that one half and that comeback and that home wild card game. And I'm like, then why does nobody give Mariota? Why was nobody talking about Mariota like that after he led that second half comeback where the Titans were down 21-3 at halftime against Kansas City, and the Titans won 22-21 before getting their heads kicked in by the Patriots next week? I don't ever remember everybody there saying, oh, Mariota's the next great one. In fact, Mariota's quarterback rating in the Kansas City game was 88.8. Lawrence's rating against the Chargers was 70. Mariota was drafted highly. Mariota was good in college. I don't remember that. The Titans fired their coach, and you all were on board with it. So, again, this is a narrative, and it's getting out of hand. Everybody's telling me, oh, Trevor Lawrence, he's the best, he's the best, he's the best. Let's let him be the best first. That's all I ask. 615-737-1025 is our phone number, 615-737-1025. We'll get to some of your phones here to get to. And I also, by the way, I do want to get to, some of these. There's all these stories coming out in Indianapolis about Jonathan Taylor. I just have one quick little thought to sneak it in, then we're to your phones here today on the program. Tune into the Chase McCabe Show and Caroline, Willie, and D. Mace tomorrow as they'll be live at Titans training camp. They'll get player interviews and deliver the latest updates with the Titans as they get ready for the 2023 season. And coverage of training camp is presented by the Simmons Bank Open, Parman Energy, Caudle Vet Clinic, and the New Cumberland Development.
94.9 The Fan is your home for Hit City.
Tonight, your Nashville Sounds continue their 6-game series at First Horizon Park against Durham.
Swing and a miss, strike 3. Sounds win.
Pre-game at 6:20.
On your home of Nashville Sounds baseball, 94.9 The Fan and The Fan app.
My student organization was suspended from campus for criticizing the Chinese government. We knew our free speech rights were being violated. That's why we teamed up with the Foundation for Individual Rights and Expression. FIRE launched a full-scale campaign. They talked to the media, sent letters to the school's president, and put billboards up around campus telling our story. That's what FIRE does. They defend everyone's right to free speech. Defend free speech at thefire.org.
Paid for by thefire.org.
This week at the Electronic Express Summer Clearance Sales Event, get instant savings of up to 40% off in every department, including all 4K TVs, laptops and tablets, housewares, gaming consoles, speakers, and more. At Electronic Express, we have up to 50% off all major appliances in stock and ready to deliver. Plus, purchase now, pay later with up to 5-year special financing. Shop the Summer Clearance Event at Electronic Express. We make it happen.
Genesis Diamonds is opening up the vault with our largest GIA Diamond event ever. Starting Saturday for a limited time, all our GIA Diamond engagement rings will be marked down 20%.
That's 20% below Genesis' already unbeatable price. This means you can buy like a dealer buys with deep discounts on over $10 million in stunning diamond rings.
These remarkable savings are on every GIA Diamond engagement ring, from a half carat to 20 carats, all shapes too. Rounds, ovals, radiant cuts, cushion cuts, pear shapes, emerald cuts, princess cuts.
Remember, all Genesis diamonds are hand-picked, come straight from the diamond cutters, and are graded by the GIA, the most prestigious gem lab in the world.
At Genesis, our everyday prices are unbeatable, but for this event, we're taking value to a whole new level with an additional 20% savings.
Don't miss this chance to save like never before on that exquisite diamond ring. Buy like a dealer buys.
Starting Saturday for a limited time, exclusively at Genesis Diamonds. Limit 1 per customer, please. Green Hills and Cool Springs. See store for details.
Do you have a VA loan? In this housing market, homeowners with VA loans have access to a ton of instant cash. Hey, Willie Donick here. Do you need cash to pay off credit cards and other high-interest loans? How does a check for 80 or 90 grand sound right now? Loan Pronto is helping veterans every day get the money they need with a quick and easy zero-cost cash-out refi with zero closing costs. With a VA loan, it's really cool because you can access up to 100% of your home's value. That's 100%. Use that money to pay off credit cards, home equity property lines, car loans. Consolidate all your payments into one check per month and close in 2 weeks. Most homeowners who do this end up cutting their overall monthly payments by $800. And Loan Pronto's all-digital process makes it fast and easy. They're doing loans with super low APRs, and they love working with veterans. Call now. See what your options are. Call Loan Pronto, 615-499-5780. That's 615-499-5780, or go to loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 166-1781, subject to lender approval.
Insightful discussion.
When we talk about the person that these players are.
3 goals scored in the first 5 minutes.
He wants to be the starter, day one.
Mixed with spirited debate.
Okay, but Derek, let's Professor Derek.
They are Caroline, Willie, and D-Mace. With Caroline Fenton, Willie Donick, and former NFL wide receiver Derek Mason.
We got the whole thing covered. We got it all covered. Here.
Weekdays at 11 on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app. You're listening to Stillman and Company on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
I think you were on the Anthony Richardson camp early, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. First game of the year last year.
Okay, so
whoa,
the Dan Wagon pulled up.
He called the game. Right. Yeah, sweet spin move.
Pulled up.
Added it.
LSU, was that the LSU game?
No, Utah.
Mm-hmm. No, that was Florida, Utah. I went on Feinbaum's show, I think, that week, and I said if he never takes another snap in college football, he's a guaranteed top 10 pick.
Yeah. Okay, so let me tell you about what I seen at training camp, and then I want to hear your thoughts on it all. This dude's unbelievable. This dude's really good. He is phenomenal. And this is embarrassing to say, and I hate when people say this, so I don't want to do this type of thing, but there's some shake there that make you like really think like, oh, this dude's got like Cam Newton size, has some real shake, has some real wiggle. Like we're talking about I'm not saying Lamar is an untackleable, incredible anomaly. Yeah. Michael Vick, same thing. I'm not talking. This dude's wiggle, though, is like elite. Like, I think he's going to be shaking people. I think he's not going to get hit that much, even though he's 6'4", 250. And then his throwing motion, we're talking about just a flick of the wrist in the revolutions, the velocity, how fast the ball's spinning, real fast. Yeah. We're talking about like throwing darts.
Oh, yeah.
He has the chance. I think everybody in the building is like, oh, my God, we got a guy here.
There you go. That was Pat McAfee talking about Anthony Richardson at Colts practice. Couple of Colts thoughts here, and then we're back to your phones. The first one is Richardson. Now, sunshine pumping about the quarterback in Indianapolis is not new. In fact, it's very common. It feels like it's a yearly thing. Remember all the Matt Ryan talk last year? Matt Ryan is the next Peyton Manning. I think it was Reggie Wayne, the wide receivers coach, says, it made me sick how much I thought he was like Peyton Manning. They won 4 games last year. Remember all the sunshine pumping out of Indianapolis about Carson Wentz? Carson Wentz, Frank Reich is the reason why Carson Wentz was good in 2017, and he looks good again. And then Carson Wentz broke his foot. And then it was, he'll be back for the season. He'll be back. They'll be fine. Don't worry about it. Every year, the sunshine pumping out of Indianapolis is not something new. So when I hear Pat McAfee, or I'm sure the local guys like Zach Kiefer, talk about how great Anthony Richardson looks in practice, I take it with a grain of salt. The difference between Matt Ryan, Carson Wentz, and Anthony Richardson, though, for me, is that I'm scared to death of Anthony Richardson. Now, I heard Chase saying this when I was driving to practice today, and I do want to bring this up because I think that we need to really think about Richardson, because this was how I feel about him when I kept telling you that I would have taken him with the number 1 pick of the draft. Chase said, he goes, I want to see Anthony Richardson's first preseason game, and then I want to judge him. I'm like, whoa now. Like, I'm not even judging Anthony Richardson's potential off of the first season. I might not judge it after the second season. Now, by the third season, you need to be a good quarterback. But if the Colts are bad this year and Anthony Richardson's running the football and they win 5 games and he's a 60% passer, and I'm not going to write him off as a bust because I knew what this process was going to be. If I was the general manager, we would have drafted Anthony Richardson with the 4th overall pick, and I would have gone right down to the podium, and I would have said Gardner Minshew is our starting quarterback. The fact that they haven't named Gardner Minshew the starting quarterback leads me to believe that they've decided that they're going to play Richardson. And I don't think Richardson is ready. But I'm not even sure if Shane Steichen, the head coach, is the one who's making the call. It might be the owner. And as we've seen with the owner, one of his biggest problems is that he can't stay out of the way. Whether it's hiring Bozo last year off of television to be the interim head coach, whether it's this Jonathan Taylor mess that is equally his fault as it is Jonathan Taylor's. So I just want everybody out there to know that while everybody in Indy is telling us how great Anthony Richardson looks, look at the speed, look at the size, we knew that. We knew that after the combine. That's why I wanted to draft him. We know he's got a cannon for an arm. It's a flick of the wrist, and it goes 50 yards down the field without even trying. There was a player from Georgia in the Florida-Georgia game named Bear Alexander. He's a 305-pound defensive tackle. He's transferred. He's now at USC. In the Florida-Georgia game, Bear Alexander jumped on Anthony Richardson's back, and Anthony Richardson carried him 5 yards up the field before he was gang tackled by a group of Georgia defenders. Richardson's got talent, but I'm not expecting him to be a star right away. So when I hear the sunshine pumping in Indy, I don't get scared. I just take it with a huge grain of salt and assume that that's just how Indy's going to be. The Indy media is always pumping the sunshine. And I'm also saying, hey, let's not judge Anthony Richardson right away. The second thing about Indianapolis, I saw that Jeff Howe in The Athletic said that sources are saying there's really not a trade market for Jonathan Taylor, though there are teams that would be interested if the Colts were to make Jonathan Taylor available. Now, Jim Irsay has said they're not going to trade Jonathan Taylor. But one of the big holdups is none of these teams want to give Jonathan Taylor a contract. Here's the problem with Jonathan Taylor. Jonathan Taylor thinks the decision not to give him a contract is personal. He thinks it's about they don't value me. He thinks, well, they gave Grover Stewart a contract. They gave Quentin Nelson a contract. They gave all these guys contracts, and they're not giving me one. They gave Shaquille Leonard a contract. Where's mine? The problem is Jonathan Taylor plays the easiest position to franchise. So why would Indianapolis do something that nobody else is willing to do? The Raiders aren't willing to do it with Josh Jacobs. The Giants aren't willing to do it with Saquon Barkley, though they were before they signed Daniel Jones to a contract. My guess is if Bijan Robinson is everything that the Atlanta Falcons hope he's going to be, they'll probably end up franchise tagging him too. Guess what? Derrick Henry on your team is in the 4th year of a 4-year deal, but you franchised him. Everybody gets franchised unless there's a reason not to franchise you. The number one reason is because you're not good enough for the franchise tag. At $10 million, Jonathan Taylor is good enough for the franchise tag. The second reason is there's somebody else we'd rather franchise. Unfortunately for the Colts, I don't know if you've seen the results of their teams the last couple of years. There's not that many good players on them. So Jonathan Taylor can whine and complain all he wants, but there's nobody wants to pay the running back any money. Nobody wants to give the running back any money. So why would Indy? This isn't about value. This isn't about doing, acting in good faith. This isn't about doing him a solid. This isn't about showing him how much you value. There isn't just this. This is about the reality of the economic system in the NFL. I had Robert Turbin, former running back with Seattle back in the day. I had Robert Turbin on my SiriusXM show last weekend. Former running back, now he works for NFL Radio at Sirius. And when former players come on, sometimes I'm nervous that, there's going to be like a former player element to this. And I asked Robert Turbin, a former running back, I said, what's going to happen to the running back market? He said it's not going to change until the next CBA. And I thought, boy, that is a really, really well thought out take because it's true. I don't think Jonathan Taylor thinks of it that way. I think he thinks that they value him something more than what he is, which is a good running back. Have you not seen what's happened to the other good running backs there? 615-737-1025 is our phone number here on the program, 615-737-1025. If you want to weigh in, we will get to some phones. I have promised that we will get to them, and then I been talking too much. But today was Malik Willis's best day at training camp. And there are two things. One, the difference between this year and last year, and two, the backup quarterback battle, where he fits in. We'll do that next. Stillman and Company, again, live here out at Streetcar Taps and Gardens, where, again, we're out here West Nashville on Charlotte Avenue. Come on out. You've got another hour to register to win some tickets, and when you win these tickets, when you come out here, there's a pretty good chance, I can't promise anything, but there's a really good chance you're going to win tickets, and these are real tickets to real concerts. 3 Doors Down, Guns N' Roses, Depeche Mode, Thomas Rhett, Preds games, Sounds games, more. When you come on out and win, you will see this great place. It is wonderful out here. Stillman and Company, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
102.5 and 106.3 The Game is live and local.
And now, let's meet the starting lineups.
Robbie and Rex Road 6 to 9.
Big time performance, best part of the team.
Chase McCabe 9 to 11.
An unrestricted free agent.
Caroline, Willie, and D Mace 11 to 2.
Got the big contract.
The Velvet Touch. Talk about Hall of Famers.
And Stillman and Company 2 to 6.
Kept going for it.
And don't forget, we're your home for all things Nashville.
He scored!
Nashville's best sports talk. 102.5 and 106.3 The Game.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
Nashville is growing, but we remember our roots here.
The fairgrounds, my family and I have so many memories there. It is full of history, it is full of culture, and it is full of Nashville.
There are some folks who want to tear down our historic fairground speedway.
When you do that, you lose part of your story.
Don't tear it down, make it better.
I'm not necessarily a racing fan, but it's a part of the fabric of the neighborhood.
When you lose something, guess what? It doesn't come back.
Don't take away my history.
Let's make sure we don't lose another piece of what makes our city so special.
Check. You might already know about the Acura MDX. V6 engine, seat 7. We have an announcement. We swapped that engine with a specially made 3-liter turbo V6, race-tuned the steering and suspension, and for the first time, added Type S performance to an SUV. So we're just gonna drop this right here. The Acura MDX and first ever MDX Type S. Acura, precision crafted performance.
Experience the thrill at Gary Force Acura, proud sponsor of the Nashville Predators. TennesseeAcura.com.
So, if there's brunch, why isn't there dinner?
Or dunch, for that matter.
No, we know why there's no dunch.
Why is that?
People might get confused and miss brunch.
And I never want to miss a brunch this good.
Me either. Cheers.
Kitchen Notes at the Omni Nashville Hotel. Breakfast buffet Monday through Thursday from 7 till 10:30 a.m. and lunch from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. Weekend brunch Friday through Sunday from 7 a.m. till 2 p.m. featuring cast iron pancakes, made to order waffles, and eggs and carafes of mimosas. Treat yourself today to Kitchen Notes at the Omni Nashville Hotel.
Have you Googled yourself lately? Are there negative posts from an ex-employee or from a former client? Maybe an outdated news article or sensitive personal information about your family? Search engines don't always get it right. For right or wrong, it's your reputation on the line. That's where Reputation Defender by Norton comes in. One of the most trusted names in online reputation repair, Reputation Defender has been fixing people's search results for over 15 years. Their cutting-edge approaches help you to wipe away unwanted information in your search results. They also promote the good stuff so that it rises to the top, helping you put your best foot forward. Your good name is too valuable to leave to the whims of a Google algorithm. Take control with Reputation Defender. You can start by getting your free reputation report card at reputationdefender.com. Or call 800-401-6681 to speak to an expert. That's 800-401-6681.
Now, your Game Center update.
The Tennessee Titans were back on the practice field today as they got some work done in the bubble thanks to the rain. Head coach Mike Vrabel spoke after practice about being able to get some work done in the weather conditions before moving inside.
Well, we'd like to get the work in. I mean, you can't recreate some of these situations, and the opportunity to practice in different conditions. And I'm pretty sure that there'll be games that we'll have to play in the rain or the snow or the heat and whatever it may be. And so, we try to go out and then be safe as possible, and then credit to Joey, his staff, and all the interns and the trainers, and Todd and his staff, and the interns that are able to get everything moved in there. And it's pretty impressive.
The Titans announced this afternoon that they have released offensive lineman Jamarco Jones. Jones was involved in 2 scuffles during practice this week. The NFL preseason officially kicks off tonight between the Cleveland Browns and the New York Jets in the Hall of Fame game at 7 o'clock on NBC. The Big Ten is looking into adding Oregon and Washington in more conference reshuffling. And the Nashville Sounds return to action tonight as they are back at First Horizon Park hosting Durham, the AAA affiliate of the Tampa Bay Rays. Pre-game starts at 6:20 with first pitch at 6:35 on your home of the Sounds, 94.9 The Fan. From the Game Nashville studios, this is Ian Safar.
Live from the Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical Studios. WPRT FM Pegram, WPUZ HD2 Laverne.
Ross Chastain will be first to finish in the Ally 500 at Nashville Super Speedway.
Nashville's exclusive home for NASCAR. 102.5 and 106.3.
Checkered flag is in the air. Man, this is a win in the cup race.
The Game.
A Cromwell media station.
Where you have a voice.
He had a competent coaching staff. You just play terrible and you keep playing.
And we have strong opinions.
What a whiny freaking crybaby response.
This is Stillman and Company with Jared Stillman on Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Stillman & Company, 102.5, 106.3 The Game, streaming live on Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook Live. Thanks to Superbook Sports, live from the Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical Studios. We are live today at Streetcar Taps and Garden out here in West Nashville, Charlotte Avenue. Come on out. It's part of the Game Summer Ticket Tour, where for the next hour, you can come register to win tickets. We're giving them away every 30 minutes. We got tons of concerts, tons of Preds tickets, Sounds tickets to give away. You've got a pretty good chance of winning if you roll on out here to come on out to Streetcar, and you can register to win the grand prize, a pair of tickets to a Titans home game, a pair of tickets in the Eurostone Club at Bridgestone Arena, the Preds game. The Eurostone Club, by the way, I was there for 50 Cent the other night. It's freaking awesome. And a 2-night stay at the Opryland Hotel with access to sound waves. Make sure you come down to Streetcar Taps and Garden and register for the grand prize before it's too late. Also, the happy hour here goes until 6. $10 wings, $3 domestics all day, $3.50 Music City Lights, $5 Wiseacre air baths, and $5.50 Bell's Two-Hearted Ale. So today at practice, I felt like we saw the glow up. I didn't know what that meant until I was about 31 years old. And a young woman that we had hired came into my life by the name of Caroline Fenton. And she started talking about the glow up. And I said, what the hell is a glow up? She was like, you've never heard of a glow up? I said, what the hell does that mean? You know, like somebody in high school that wasn't really, the man or wasn't good looking or whatever, and then all of a sudden they're the CEO of Apple. I'd say that's quite the glow up. Tom Brady couldn't get the starting job in college. He's the best quarterback in the history of the NFL and was at once upon a time married to the hottest woman on the planet. That's quite the glow up. Don't look at me like that, Ladarius. You know it's true. Thank you. So Malik Willis has had a glow up. And today I thought was his best day at practice. I think today encapsulated the glow up that Malik Willis has had. Now, I just totaled the quarterbacks for the day, and I don't think it was an overly impressive day from the Titans offense at all. I don't think it was a really great day for Tannehill. I thought Levis was okay, playing with the threes. But I thought Malik Willis was awesome. When I totaled them up for the day, and this is where stats can be misleading, Tannehill was 8 of 17. Willis was 7 of 14. Levis was 8 of 12 with a touchdown at the very end and a beautiful throw to Alizé Mack that set it up. And yet, when I went over each throw individually, Tannehill had one good throw on the day, had a bad overthrow of DeAndre Hopkins. When I look at Will Levis, he was decent, had a good throw, the one I told you about to Alizé Mack. But when I charted Willis for the day, I had one bad throw. It was his second throw of the day, an incompletion. And then he had one in the 2-minute drill that wasn't very good. And then his third throw, great. His fourth throw, good. His fifth throw, good. His seventh throw, tight window. Good throw, great catch 81, which is Josh Wiley. Then he had an incompletion in the end zone that hit Nick Westbrook-Akina in the hands. It was an easy touchdown. The blitz came, Malik stood in there and got the ball off. Beautiful throw, perfect amount of velocity, right in the hands, and Nick Westbrook-Akina couldn't catch it. That's not Malik Willis's fault. Today was Malik Willis's best day. Today was the glow-up. Today was the day that showed how much progress Malik Willis has made from last year to this year. Last year, in a 2-minute drill, Malik Willis threw the ball out of bounds at the end of training camp on 4th down against the Arizona Cardinals. Today, in a 2-minute drill, Malik Willis threw an interception on the last play. 4th down. He threw the ball in the end zone in the vicinity of a receiver that could have made a play, and because it was 4th down with the game on the line, the other team intercepted it, but it was a meaningless interception. The difference between last year is your guy has no chance to catch a ball if you throw it out of bounds. Your guy's got a shot on 4th down with the game on the line if you put it in the end zone. So even though the result was an interception, the thought process, to me, is exactly where I want it to be with Malik Willis. When it comes to a throw from Nick Westbrook-Akina that was incomplete, not the one he dropped, but in the back of the end zone, I actually thought it was a good throw. It was high, and Westbrook-Akina had to jump up for it and wasn't able to make the catch, but there was so much traffic underneath that if Malik had tried to rely on his arm strength in order to try to zip the ball in there, it probably gets intercepted. And last year, that's what he would have tried to do. Now, I did not like that Malik Willis bobbled a snap in the shotgun in the 2-minute drill, and those things can't happen. And they've got to work on that. But I never claimed that Malik Willis was perfect. Malik Willis is a lot better. And the word that I feel when it comes to Malik Willis is trust. That is, last year I begged the Titans to go get a backup quarterback. If I was the general manager of the team, Logan Woodside would have made the team out of camp, even though Logan Woodside was freaking terrible. Because I'm not putting Malik Willis in a game. Not the way he looked last year. He wasn't ready. I was worried it would ruin him. And quite frankly, the Titans as an organization did their best. He wasn't ready to play. Bad offensive line. Bozo calling the plays. No receivers. And yet somehow Malik rebounded from being benched at the end of last year to where I watch him right now, and I think this is a legitimate battle for the backup quarterback spot. And Levis had his day on Monday, and Willis had his day today. And I asked Vrabel after practice today, how much more does he trust Malik Willis this year than he did last year?
Mike, how much do you trust Malik more this year operationally to make the right reads, compared to how he was last year as a rookie?
Well, I don't think it does us any good to go back and say where Malik was or how far he's come. I think that he's competing. I think he's much more comfortable. I see a much more confident player, and therefore it's easier to coach him. I think that's been the thing here. It's just been easier to coach him because he does have just a greater knowledge, an understanding, a comfort level, and there's mistakes like every other player, but it's been easy, I think, to coach him because he kind of knows maybe before you bring something up, or even ball security when he's scrambling and he's trying to leave the pocket and making sure that there's two hands on the football or whatever it may be. So not really focused on where he was, focused on where he's at now and making corrections and continuing to improve. And threw one in there, stood in there today. I mean, got the center and the nose guard and the running back standing on his lap, and he flicks it in there to Racy and, a tight window, and had to put some steam on it to Josh, who made a great catch. So there's going to be a lot of things that are positive, and there'll be some things that Tim and Charles will get cleaned up.
Okay. Vrabel starts off by saying, doesn't do us any good to go back to last year. What he's saying there is it doesn't do us any good to talk about how bad Malik sucked last year. And I understand that. It doesn't do Vrabel any good if he gets up there and says, boy, I tell you, Malik Willis was awful last year, and this year he's much better. Just like when somebody has a glow up, it doesn't do you any good to say, hey, you were fat in high school. Doesn't really do anybody any good for that. But the words that he used, comfortable, confident, easy to coach, knowledgeable, understanding, ball security. Again, if you're a coach and you want to trust somebody, don't you want that person to be comfortable? Don't you want them to be confident, easy to coach, knowledgeable, have an understanding of what you're doing, and take care of the football? Again, Malik is not battling for the starting position of the Titans. He's not battling for the starting quarterback job. That job belongs to Ryan Tannehill. And everybody knows it. But when Vrabel talks about how Malik's more comfortable and Malik's more confident and Malik's easier to coach, I wonder if that really is how he feels about his trust in Malik Willis. That I'm comfortable trusting Malik Willis. I'm confident trusting Malik Willis. It's easier for me to trust Malik. Today was the glow up. Malik Willis is a better football player. Is he going to be the long-term option at quarterback for the Titans? I don't know. I doubt it. Is he going to be the backup this year? I don't know. Is he better than Will Levis right now? I don't know. But I do know he's a different quarterback. And I'm excited to see what he looks like in that Chicago game in a couple of weeks, because then you'll get to see it and we'll get to see, when he might actually get hit, how different. But I'm telling you, he looks different. 615-737-1025 is our phone number if you want to weigh in. 615-737-1025 here on the program. Again, I think Malik Willis has had a real glow up. What does it mean for the backup quarterback position? And I asked Vrabel a question today that I found fascinating about the backup quarterback battle. That maybe means that what we're looking at right now isn't exactly the determining factor. We'll get to that coming up. 615-737-1025. Again, we are live out at Streetcar Taps and Garden. So you got 15 minutes to come on out. 45 minutes to come on out and register to win tickets. We got tons of them. We're giving them away. We're giving them away every 30 minutes. Tons of people have come in here, and tons of people have won. Stillman and Company, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
It's a long summer. But don't worry. Hockey will be back soon. You'll hear every slap shot, save, hit, and of course,
knocked down in front, rebound, and a score!
On your home for Smashville, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app. Is it October yet?
Hey folks, Joe Rexo here. I want you to know Twin Peaks is the place for your fantasy football draft party. Their draft party package gives league commissioners and its members an elevated, easy experience along with scenic views. At Twin Peaks, your draft party package includes a draft board, player stickers, a $50 bonus commissioner card, a $5 bonus card per league member, and a premium table reservation with Wi-Fi. Get to Twin Peaks this year for your fantasy football draft party. Locations in Madison and Cool Springs.
Genesis Diamonds is opening up the vault with our largest GIA Diamond event ever. Starting Saturday for a limited time, all our GIA Diamond engagement rings will be marked down 20%.
That's 20% below Genesis' already unbeatable price. This means you can buy like a dealer buys with deep discounts on over $10 million in stunning diamond rings.
These remarkable savings are on every GIA Diamond engagement ring, from a half carat to 20 carats. All shapes too. Rounds, ovals, radiant cuts, cushion cuts, pear shapes, emerald cuts, princess cuts.
Remember, all Genesis diamonds are hand-picked, come straight from the diamond cutters, and are graded by the GIA, the most prestigious gem lab in the world.
At Genesis, our everyday prices are unbeatable. But for this event, we're taking value to a whole new level with an additional 20% savings.
Don't miss this chance to save like never before on that exquisite diamond ring. Buy like a dealer buys.
Starting Saturday for a limited time, exclusively at Genesis Diamonds. Limit one per customer, please. Green Hills and Cool Springs. See store for details.
This year, Boys and Girls Club of Middle Tennessee celebrates its 120th anniversary. Through time, BGCMT continues to evolve to enable all young people, especially those who need us most, to reach their full potential as productive, caring, and responsible leaders. Because of your continued support, BGCMT has remained strong and is committed to supporting our youth and solidifying our mission and culture in new exciting ways for 120 years. Visit bgcmt.org today.
In any work environment, culture is the most important thing. And what makes up the culture? The people. Hey, this is General Manager Sean Ford with Cromwell Media. This month, we want to highlight 2 individuals on our team celebrating their anniversary. First, Max Hers is celebrating over 5 years with us on 1025 The Game. And our president and owner, Bud Walters, is celebrating his 51st year with Cromwell Media. Thanks to you for the community you've built here. If you're looking for a new career, reach out to us at together@cromwellmedia.com. Love what you do, love where you work.
Want to see our smiling faces? You can watch us on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook Live. We are good to go. Presented by Superbook Sports, voted #1 sportsbook in Vegas. Strong opinions and a strong personality on your drive home. This is Stillman and Company on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
It's very rare sometimes to have 2 really young quarterbacks in that room really battling for a spot like that in the backup spot. He said we're such good friends, and the quarterback room is so, I mean, how big is it to have that culture? And I know it's hard sometimes when you're battling for a
Yeah, and it is, and I think I do appreciate, their attitude and their willingness to come together and communicate, help each other. But also understand that when they go out there, they've got a job to do, and that's to compete, and it's to help the team and to help their situation. And I think it's just a testament to them and who they are at the position, and knowing whether, whatever they're called to go in there, they have to go in there.
There you go. That was Vrabel talking about Malik Willis and Will Levis. And again, he said they're competing for the backup quarterback spot. I think, it depends on what mood Vrabel's in and how he's talking. If you were to say to him, is Ryan Tannehill the starting quarterback? I don't know that he would just put his foot down and say yes, but it's pretty obvious that Ryan Tannehill's the starting quarterback. And the battle for the position is the backup spot. But I did ask Mike Vrabel something I was thinking about, because when Malik's out there, they run plays for Malik. RPOs and certain kind of option pitches and things like that. They don't run those for Will Levis. And when Will Levis is out there, they run plays for Levis. And when Tannehill's out there, they run plays for Tannehill. They are not running the option with Ryan Tannehill out there at practice. And so one thing I wondered about was, what does Vrabel view as his backup quarterback and what he views in it? And how is that different than what they're doing now? Because right now, I think it's just, hey, we want you to go be the best Malik Willis you can be. We want you to go be the best Will Levis you can be. And not, hey, we have a certain expectation for what we need you to do right now. Like Blaine Gabbert was the backup here. And Blaine Gabbert was the backup to Tom Brady. And nobody expected Blaine Gabbert to beat Tom Brady. But the expectation was, hey, if Tom Brady gets hurt, you've got to go in there and you've got to run Tom Brady's plays. Now, you're not going to be able on 3rd and 19 to get us out of that by chucking a ball to Mike Evans on a dime. In that case, we're going to ask you to check it down to the back, and we're going to bring the punter on. But when we set things up for Mike Evans, for Chris Godwin, for Rob Gronkowski, when we set things up for those guys, we need you to execute that. And I was reminded listening to Vrabel talk about these 2 quarterbacks. And again, Levis had his day on Monday. Willis had his day today, where Willis was great. I thought about something Vrabel said. And I can't remember if this is when Vrabel took the job or in between Vrabel's first year and second year. And remember, the end of Vrabel's first year was that Sunday night game against the Colts, in which Blaine Gabbert had to start because Mariota got hurt. And Vrabel compared the backup quarterback to a relief pitcher in baseball, which is starter goes, and then when the starter comes out, I need the reliever to get me through those innings, i.e., I need the backup to get me through that game. And I was thinking about Gabbert when he said that, because when Mariota got hurt, In the Washington game, Gabbert came in and won it. He got them through that game. You're asking Blaine Gabbert to go out there and beat Andrew Luck? That's a different story. So right now, they're letting Malik be Malik. They're letting Levis be Levis. But come time to get ready for games and in the season, will he be able to do the same thing? Here's what Vrabel said today.
Years ago, you talked about a backup quarterback and compared it to a relief pitcher finishing a game, coming in for the starter. Do you coach it differently with young guys right now battling for that backup spot than when the season
Yeah,
starts?
I think probably it's going to be, right now this is developmental, this is competition, this is you guys are trying to go earn a starting job. And we probably haven't gotten to that point where, because they are getting, we're trying to make sure that the reps are even and trying to make sure we know when the season comes that, some of those reps aren't, with the offense, they don't get as many of those. And the preparation is probably a little different. So we're not there yet. And so we're just trying to let them go and give them opportunities to go compete.
So what he's telling you is the expectations for the backup quarterback are different than the expectations right now for what he's expecting to see out of the quarterbacks who are competing for the backup spot. He wants Malik Willis to perform in practice right now as if he were the starting quarterback. And we're going to run RPOs for you, and we're going to run the offense specifically for you when you're in there. That will not happen week 3. When the Titans are getting ready for the Browns, and they start practice on Wednesday, and then they practice on Thursday, and then they practice on Friday, and then they hop on the plane and they go to Cleveland on Saturday, and then they play. Whoever the backup quarterback is, they will not be asking him, hey, we need you to be the best Malik Willis. We need you to be the best Will Levis. They will be saying, we need you to run the scheme that we have implemented this week if something happens to Tannehill. So I'm not saying that this is going to drive the backup quarterback position one way or another because I don't know. But my guess would be right now, Will Levis does more of what they would expect out of Ryan Tannehill than Malik Willis does. But I also don't know. Now, Levis scored incredibly well on that S2 cognition test, and he did run a pro-style offense at Kentucky, which is very similar to the offense the Titans run, even though they've changed it up some, going more to that Patriots Bill O'Brien system with Tim Kelly than just the straight new age West Coast offense that they had under Matt LaFleur and Arthur Smith and Todd Downing. But I don't know because Levis hasn't been in the NFL. Can they give him a game plan, say, all right, here you go, week 2, Chargers. Here's the Chargers game plan. These are the plays for Tannehill. Now, here are the plays that you're going to run in practice this week because you're Justin Herbert. And now, if something happens to Tannehill, you're running the Tannehill plays. I know you spent all week over here on the Herbert plays in practice. I know you saw the Tannehill plays over here in the meeting room. We need you to run the Tannehill plays as opposed to the Herbert plays that you practiced. And I don't know if Will Levis can do that because I don't know where he's at in terms of processing that information. And that is a plus for Willis because he's already been through that. So he knows what to expect as a starting quarterback or as a backup quarterback if he's behind Tannehill and they say, okay, here you go, week 3, Cleveland. Here are the plays we need you to learn this week in practice. You're Deshaun Watson. Here are the plays we're running for Tannehill, and then you can go out there with these plays and play them. Now, my guess would be, and I am not handicapping the backup quarterback race. I've said I'm not going to do that. I continue to say that I will not do it till the first preseason game. But my guess would be, right now, Levis is probably the guy who would be able to run the most of the Ryan Tannehill offense. So it would not surprise me if Ryan Tannehill's the starter at New Orleans and Will Levis is the backup in week 1, simply because if something were to happen to Tannehill, then Will Levis can run the same plays better than Malik Willis. But what that could also mean is, knock on wood, because you don't know anything to happen to Tannehill, but knock on wood with Tannehill. Say if something were to happen to Tannehill, and then the next week he's out, they could go to Willis. They could say, okay, for finishing this game, Levis gives us the better chance to win if something were to happen to Tannehill. Going into a week where we've got a week to put in a scheme, we've got a week to prepare, we've got a week, Willis gives us a better chance. Or it could be the other way around. Levis could not pick up on the scheme week to week very quickly or retain both, his show team responsibilities and the backup quarterback responsibilities, and Willis could, so he's the backup to Tannehill. But if something were to happen to Tannehill, they'd rather Will Levis start the game because they think he's the future, and so let's just go ahead and develop it around him. So just because one guy is the backup at New Orleans does not mean that the Titans necessarily view that guy ahead of the other guy. And right now, I think it's just you go be the best Malik Willis, you go be the best Will Levis, and we'll see what you guys become at the end. 615-737-1025 or to your phones next, 615-737-1025. There's a serious Tannehill thing and a not serious Tannehill thing, and I want to talk about both of them next, and we will do that, of course, with your phone. Stillman and Company live from Streetcar out here in West Nashville, Streetcar Taps and Garden. Come on out again until 6 o'clock. So you've got now you got 31 minutes to come on out and register to win these tickets. And again, a lot of people are coming out, a lot of people are registering, and a lot of people are winning tickets. Stillman and Company, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
All the big plays.
Henry, touchdown, Tennessee.
All the big stories.
I fully expected DeAndre Hopkins wanting a one-year deal.
All in one place. We are Nashville's best sports talk. 102.5 and 106.3.
Touchdown, Tennessee.
You're going to make a trade like this.
Does he want to retire a Tennessee Titan?
The door's on the board.
Such superstar players. The Game and the Game Nashville app.
What's up? It's Chase McCabe, and I have been telling you about PhD Weight Loss for several weeks now. The program created by Dr. Ashley Lucas, the best-selling author. Listen, overall, I'm down about 25 pounds, and this is a great program because losing weight is not easy. That's why you have one-on-one coaching sessions. I talk to Rachel each week. She's great. She works me through my program, gives me what I need. We adjust my diet as we go, and that is how I'm getting the results, and you can too. With that weekly one-on-one coaching, you get the customized meal plans. And here's the cool part about this. If you choose to use their food, 85% of the food is provided for you at no extra charge. And the food is great. I love the cereals, the protein bars, the shakes, but they can also teach you how to use your own food as well. And remember, their new offer guarantee, if you don't get within 5 pounds of your target weight, by the time your program is over, PhD will continue to coach you until you do. That is their offer guarantee. MyPhDWeightLoss.com is the website. Check it out, MyPhDWeightLoss.com.
Mid-State Sports summer registration is going on now. Adults can register as an individual or bring their whole team for softball, sand volleyball, soccer, flag football, kickball, and basketball. For more info, visit midstatesports.com. It's no debate. Play Mid-State.
Meet Joe A, Joe B, and Joe C.
What's up?
3 everyday Joes perfecting their banking with Chase. Joe A is locking his lost debit card with the Chase mobile app. Joe B is cruising toward his new ride with AutoSave. And Joe C's Chase banker is helping him budget to go back to school. Tools that help protect. Support for what's next. One bank that puts you in control. Visit chase.com/checking. Chase. Make more of what's yours.
Chase mobile app is available for select mobile devices. Messaging and data rates may apply. JP Morgan Chase Bank, N.A. member FDIC.
Parman Energy is your one-stop petroleum solution across all of Tennessee, offering turnkey petroleum solutions for professionals in major industries, serving trucking fleets, construction companies, industrial plants, and more. Whether a large corporation or owner-operator, Parman Energy has your diesel fuel, lubricant, DEF, and equipment needs. No matter how you're getting there, start with Parman. Visit ParmanEnergy.com for more info. Your Tennessee petroleum solution, providing totally outrageous customer service.
Stop by Lincoln Tech's NADC Monday, August 14th through Wednesday, August 16th for their summer open house anytime between 9 a.m. and 5 p.m. and discover a world of opportunity for you and your future career plans. Meet with admissions, get info about career fields that interest you, take a tour of the campus, and learn about scholarships to help finance your education. Don't miss the open house at Lincoln Tech's NADC August 14th through 16th. Visit lincolntech.edu for additional info. That's lincolntech.edu.
They fight fight.
Jared, you're
Well, how do you know, Joe? How do you know?
And fight.
And because of that,
But how do you know that, though? But how do you know that?
But that's okay. It's Jared and Joe. Every Wednesday at 5 p.m., Jared Stillman and Joe Rexroad debate the big topics in sports. Jared versus Joe. Presented by Pella Windows and Doors and Parman Tractor and Equipment on Stillman and Company. Wednesdays at 5 on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game.
Hey, Nashville, this is Paul Feinbaum, and you're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
What's the daily communication like with you and DeAndre? He wasn't here, obviously, during the off-season. What's it like during practice, post-practice, pre-practice? How much are you guys kind of catching up on things?
Yeah, we're talking a lot. You know, we had learning reps today out there. You know, there's a couple reps where we had to talk after the play. You know, one of them being on that fourth down play down on the 2 minutes. So, you know, that's going to be a process, right? As he comes in, gets accustomed to what we're doing. I get used to him. You know, there's going to be some growing reps that we have where we got to learn from him. And now I feel confident we're presented that same situation, that we're going to be on the same page. You know, so excited about how we are growing together. But there's going to continue to be some reps like that where, hey, we're just a little off, and we'll be able to grow from it, learn from it, and hit it the next time.
Tannehill and DeAndre. Let me say this. My observation from training camp has been that Tannehill is going to DeAndre early and often. The first day of practice, he was going to DeAndre. The second day, he was going to DeAndre. The other day, he was going to DeAndre. Today, he was going to DeAndre. And they connect, but they also have some hiccups. Tannehill had a deep ball in which DeAndre had a linebacker on him, and Tannehill overshot DeAndre. And then on the fourth down, that was a pass breakup by Amani Hooker. Obviously, there was a little miscommunication there, or there was just a difference of understanding that I think they'll work through. And what I appreciate about this, Tannehill underthrew a ball the other day for DeAndre in the end zone that was intercepted. And Tannehill and DeAndre, Vrabel said, I think that they'll want to go back to that one. And the reason I bring this up is because when it comes to these other things like the offensive line or just the other stuff that just drives me crazy about training camp. Last year it was Traylon Burks, and everything that is an issue, it feels like gets sugar-coated. Oh, it's early in camp. I wouldn't be worried about it now. Oh, they're just trying this out. Oh, they're not wearing pads. Oh, they're not doing this. They're not. And when it comes to the relationship between Tannehill and DeAndre Hopkins, they both talked about it. They both are telling you, yeah, we are not on the same page yet. DeAndre said last week, the last time he was available, that he and Tannehill have clicked more times than not, but that it's only day 3 together. This is the reason why when everybody said maybe DeAndre doesn't like to practice, and so DeAndre Hopkins, we should wait until after training camp for DeAndre. I'm like, no. He needs to be at training camp so that Tannehill and DeAndre can work things out. And what I've seen is Tannehill and DeAndre working through things. I'm not worried that Tannehill and DeAndre aren't going to be on the same page by the first week of the year against New Orleans. In fact, I like seeing and I like hearing. It makes me feel comfortable. I feel comfort from the fact that Tannehill's like, yeah, that fourth down that was incomplete where Amani Hooker should have intercepted the ball, and he didn't intercept the ball, but it technically would have ended the game, that DeAndre and I are talking through that. DeAndre and I are working through that. I appreciate it. It's almost like, Barry Trotz having a plan. And people saying, well, why do you like Barry Trotz so much? Because Barry Trotz is telling us what he's doing and it makes sense. So when it comes to Tannehill and DeAndre, and they throw a pass that's incomplete on fourth down, instead of when it comes to why is Andre Dillard getting beat by Arden Key all the time? Oh, well, you don't understand. They're not wearing pads. It doesn't count. That doesn't make any sense. I mean, I can see you try to convince me that it's not, but that doesn't really make a lot of sense. He should be holding his own. Why is he not? When it comes to, what was up with that one? Hey, we're working through it. We talked about it after the play. 2 veteran guys that have a lot of skins on the wall in the NFL. I feel good about that. Now, there is a moment where if you listen to the morning show with Paul Kaharski this morning, when he and I got into it for about 30 minutes today, that I know is going to come up tomorrow morning when Paul's in with Joe. And that was my question to Tannehill. And I'm not going to lie. I think there might have been a little bit of Paul in my head when I screwed up this question to Tannehill. Now, what I'm wondering about is basically everybody writing off Tannehill after this year. At the end of last year, Tannehill said that he had a few good years left in him, and, he just turned 35. And so everybody says, these unnamed general managers in The Athletic are talking about how he's on the decline and how his career's almost over and things like that. But I wanted to know, do you feel that way? But after having been lectured by Paul about, when you ask somebody what other people, they're going to say the same thing. I was like, okay, how do I ask this question to Tannehill without basically being like, hey, man, everybody else outside of this town thinks you're an old pop-pop. Do you feel like an old pop-pop, or do you think they're wrong? Instead of just asking it like that, I tried to get it out, and this is one where I'm like, yeah, I effed up. Play the cut.
Now that you're in camp, I know you said after the surgery last year you felt like you had a couple more good years left in you. Now that it's been your birthday and you're a little bit older, do you feel like you still felt when you were 30, 28, or do you feel your age?
No, I feel really good. Thankful that I feel really good. Coming off the surgery last year, obviously you never really know how that's gonna turn out. You want it to be great, and there's a lot of work that goes into that. And thankful that I'm at where I'm at, and feel like the ankle is 100% and never happened. So yeah. Now that I had my birthday, I'm older. But yeah, I'm excited where I'm at physically, and look forward to keep going.
Yeah, that didn't come out the way I wanted it to. I was again, everybody thinks he's old. I want to know if he feels that way, or if he feels any different. Do you feel any different than when you were 32? I don't know why. I had it in my head. I was all screwed up. Phone lines driven by WilsonCountyHunter.com, 615-737-1025 if you want to weigh in. Ben says, most local fans are over Tannehill. Even the people that don't want to get rid of him don't necessarily want to keep him. They are just afraid of being worse. Ben, you're stuck with Tannehill. Like, there's no way around it. He's the best quarterback on this team. I told you yesterday, I'm convinced Tannehill is probably somewhere between the 12th and 14th best quarterback in the NFL. Now, maybe there's a chance that Will Levis is Justin Herbert. And if he is, next year, Will Levis will be the quarterback. But right now, we don't know that. In fact, I'd argue they don't know that right now. I think they're hoping, but they don't know that. And I don't think that a lot of people here necessarily want to get rid of Tannehill. Now, I'm convinced that you cannot win the Super Bowl with Tannehill as the quarterback. But I'm also convinced that you can't win the Super Bowl with Dak Prescott as the quarterback. And I'm convinced you can't win the Super Bowl right now with Trevor Lawrence as the quarterback. And I'm convinced you can't win the Super Bowl with Geno Smith or Jimmy Garoppolo or Kyler Murray or Russell Wilson as the quarterback. So it's not like you're the only team in the league that has a quarterback that I don't think you can win the Super Bowl with. I think you can win it in Cincinnati. I think you can win it in Kansas City. I think you can win it with the Jets, even though he seems to choke in big games. I think you can win it in Philadelphia. Can you win it in San Francisco? I feel like they should, and they've got a great team. But every time, push comes to shove in those playoff games, I kind of feel like Jimmy has held them back. And last year, Purdy getting hurt, I'm not sure that that's why they lost, but at that point, they didn't have a chance to win when he got hurt. So I don't know how many quarterbacks I feel like you can win with in this league to win the Super Bowl. But Tannehill is in the list of guys I don't think can win a Super Bowl. Justin says Tannehill's going to have a good year. I feel good about this team, and the offensive line worries I think will feel better once you see them up against Minnesota. I hope you're right about that. I'm worried that the Minnesota practice. Here's what I'm worried about with the Minnesota practices. And I told Ian this. And I think TD is going to be a big part of our Minnesota trip, by the way, which will be good because then one of us can watch offense while the other watches defense. But here's what worries me about Minnesota. There's two things. One, I'm worried that it's going to be, really towards the end of camp is that second preseason game, and we're going to come out of that and say this line sucks. And it will be too late to do anything about it. Free agency will be over. The draft has been over. The second wave of free agency is over. The George Fant wave of free agency is over. I mean, it is Scarbini City at that point. It is Dennis Daly time. Just like last year when they got through those Tampa Bay practices and they were like, holy crap, we suck. We got to go find somebody. And it ended up being Dennis Daly. I don't want that. The second thing I'm worried about, what I think might be infinitely more likely, but I'd much rather have that than the first thing, is one day they'll look really good and it'll be, the offensive line was great. Offense was great. They went down the field, touchdown here, first downs here, Tannehill, Hopkins, Burks, whatever. And then the second day, Minnesota will kick their butts. Because that's what happened in Tampa Bay 2 years ago, where I walked out of that and I was like, I was really excited to go see it because it's the defending world champions with all these great players on defense like JPP and Shaq Barrett and Vita Vea and Ndamukong Suh and Devin White and Levante David and Sean Murphy-Bunting and Antoine Winfield and all those guys. And then obviously Brady, Gronk, Antonio Brown, Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Scotty Miller. I was excited to watch. And the first day, the Titans went out there. Now, AJ didn't practice. Julio didn't practice. Derrick Henry didn't practice. And they kicked their ass. And I thought, oh, my God, the Titans, they just went to the defending champions and just beat the crap out of them. And if that was a Sunday game and they would have been huge underdogs with Nick Westbrook-Akina and Cam Batson at wide receiver and they would have won a game, we'd be going crazy. That would have been the definition of a Vrabel special. After the practice, Arians was mad, Brady was mad, and the next day Tampa Bay came out and just beat the ever-living crap out of them. So I walked out of that, and I'm like, one day you beat them, and the next day they beat you. So it's not like I had a great feeling on it one way or another. I'm worried that would happen in the Minnesota practices, and so then it's like I leave Minnesota feeling good about one day, feeling bad about the other day, and then I find myself in the middle. It should be noted, though, not that I think that the summer practices have anything to do with this, and I think Bruce Arians' inability to get an organized defense on the field at the end of the game and Ryan Tannehill's 3 interceptions had more to do with this. You did lose in the exact same round of the playoffs at home in the divisional round that season, you in Tampa Bay. 615-737-1025 is our phone number here on the program. 615-737-1025. The moment we've all been waiting for. It's finally here. And we'll get to that next. Stillman and Company, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
94.9 The Fan is your home for Hit City.
Tonight, your Nashville Sounds continue their 6-game series at First Horizon Park against Durham.
Swing and a miss, strike 3. Sounds win.
Pre-game at 6:20.
On your home of Nashville Sounds baseball, 94.9 The Fan and The Fan app.
Are you drowning in credit card debt? Want to get cash out of your home's equity? Loan Pronto can do it now in less than a week. Hey, Willie Donick here. That's right. Loan Pronto's Equity Express line of credit just got even faster. You can get $50,000, $100,000, even $200,000 in as little as 5 days. You don't even have to touch your primary mortgage. You can keep that 3% rate intact. Get just the money you need and pay off all those credit cards or get that home improvement project started. With this revolutionary program, you can access up to 90% of your home's value, and in most cases, there's no appraisal. Stop paying insane interest rates to the credit card companies and get tens or even hundreds of thousands of dollars in cash in as little as 5 days. Call Loan Pronto now for the even faster Equity Express line. 615-499-5780. That's 615-499-5780 or go to loanpronto.com. 615-499-5780. Equal housing lender, NMLS 166-1781, subject to lender approval.
My student organization was suspended from campus for criticizing the Chinese government. We knew our free speech rights were being violated. That's why we teamed up with the Foundation for Individual Rights and Expression. FIRE launched a full-scale campaign. They talked to the media, sent letters to the school's president, and put billboards up around campus telling our story. That's what FIRE does. They defend everyone's right to free speech. Defend free speech at thefire.org.
Paid for by thefire.org.
If you're hiring, it can feel like you're trying to find a needle in a haystack. You can hope the right person comes along, or you can just use ZipRecruiter. And now you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. In fact, ZipRecruiter has helped a lot of business owners find their needle in a haystack, like Marco, president of operations at Telly Tires and Auto Centers. Because Telly Tires has grown a lot in the last few years, Marco needed to hire everyone from a receptionist to a store manager to a head mechanic.
ZipRecruiter helps me find all the right people, even the most difficult jobs to fill. ZipRecruiter helps me keep my business running.
Take it from Marco and millions of other businesses who've used ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter can help you find the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/RADIO. ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire.
3 days of racing, 3 days of music, one huge weekend event. The Big Machine Music City Grand Prix is not just a race or a festival, it's an experience. Multiple music stations with Flo Rida, Vince Neil, Chris Jansen, Gavin DeGraw, and more. Fast cars going over 200 miles an hour. And a family fun zone with inflatables, Ferris wheels, kids games, and kid-friendly food trucks. Tickets and premium hospitality are on sale now. Go to MusicCityGP.com for tickets and get ready to experience Nashville's premier speed and sound event.
When it comes to Chase McCabe,
the Nashville Predators, the Titans, the NBA, college football, talk a little racing.
You get a little bit of everything.
But hey, you know what? We're getting it done.
Join Chase McCabe weekday mornings at 9 on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app. You're listening to Stillman and Company on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Stillman and Company, again, we are live out at Streetcar Taps and Garden out here in the Nations. Charlotte Avenue, where I used to go down to get to school every morning out here in West Nashville. You've got 10 more minutes to come on out and register to win tickets as part of the Game Summer Ticket Tour. And I'm not making any promises, but I do feel good about your chances of winning tickets today. And you can register to win for the grand prize, where we will be selecting a winner for a pair of tickets to a Titans home game, a pair of tickets in the Eurostone Club at the Predators game, a 2-night stay at the Opryland Hotel with access to sound waves. So come on out and register to win before it's too late. And you've got 9 minutes. 9 minutes to go. Now, I just want everybody to know something. Every year, around what used to be early February, now it's mid-February, we have the biggest sporting event of the year, the Super Bowl. And after the Super Bowl is over, everybody goes to their parties, or everybody's talking about the Super Bowl the next day. But if you're somebody like me, there is a feeling of depression that comes after the Super Bowl. Floyd used to tell me that he never would get depressed, but at the end of the season, just the daily grind being over and switching to a different grind, that being free agency, the draft, personnel, exit meetings, that it broke his heart a little bit every year. And so for me, when that Super Bowl comes and goes, as exciting as the Super Bowl is, and last year we got to go to the Super Bowl and we had a blast out there in Phoenix. But when I got back, I thought about, Predators kind of stinking it up at that point in the year before Barry Trotz came in, made us all believers. I like the Atlanta Braves. They don't play much on the radio. Titans will have a nice high draft pick, so that'll be fun. There's a bunch of quarterbacks out there. Titans are looking at the quarterbacks. That'll be okay. I didn't know that this DeAndre Hopkins watch was going to be a thing, but I got depressed. I was thinking to myself, how are we going to make it? And I do this every year. How are we going to make it after the Super Bowl? How are we going to get all the way to football season? Well, folks, tonight, if you're on your way home from work and you are headed back home and you're thinking to yourself, I'm going to eat tonight, what am I going to do? Just know that we made it. Because tonight on NBC, is the Hall of Fame game. Give me the music. Oh, yes. I don't even know who's quarterbacking tonight. I know it's not Aaron Rodgers. No. Keep giving me the music. Oh, yes. I know it's not Aaron Rodgers. I know it's not Deshaun Watson. I know it's probably not even the backups.
I think Zach Wilson's going to play a little.
No, he is not.
I heard he is, yeah. Him and Mekhi Becton.
Becton, that fatty. So, is Wilson the backup there, or did they go get a veteran backup who's actually going to back up on Sundays, and Wilson's like the charity reclamation project there?
That's a good question. I think Wilson's the backup, though.
Really? So if something happens to Aaron Rodgers, they're stuck with that McGeggy.
I guess.
Give me the music. Oh, my goodness. I just want to hit that Sunday night chorus just one more time. Because tonight, NBC has the game, and football season's here. The depression that has sunken over since February, it's gone. Football is back. Apparently the Jets are a 2.5-point favorite tonight. Are you going to watch, or no, a 2-point favorite tonight? You going to watch any of the game?
I'll watch for a quick minute and see if Zach Wilson does anything. Laugh at him maybe if he screws up.
Is Josh Dobbs playing quarterback for the Browns tonight? Or is he too good for the Hall of Fame game?
I don't know.
I do know that Dorian Thompson-Robinson, the quarterback from UCLA, I do know that he's in there in the second half. But I don't know if he's in there for the first half or not tonight. But I'm just telling you, we made it. We made it. Football season starts tonight, the Hall of Fame game. And you guys can poo-poo this however you want. I heard Charlie Weiss, and he was like, I don't care about the preseason. The only reason I watch the preseason is so I can do the NFL radio job and talk about it, but I don't care about those games. And you might be that person too, but I'm not. I'm not. By the way,
no Josh
Jacobs.
Dobbs. No Josh Dobbs.
Who's quarterback in the Browns?
I don't know, but no Watson or no Dobbs.
So apparently Josh Jacobs played in the Hall of Fame game last year, and he ended up leading the NFL in rushing. So I'm just saying, keep an eye out. That's it for us. Great show today, Stillman and Company. We'll see you tomorrow.